Hey, Michelle. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. We're supposed to have background music, but we don't know what happened to our DJ. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. Welcome. Welcome. I hope we're doing great today. Hello. Morning, Danielle.
Morning.
Morning, Alison. Thank you for joining. Alison should get something for being the first to join. She even joined before us.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Drop your contacts in the chat. We should send you something nice. We have one of this basket someone's donated to us.
Okay. Do my email my email.
See, so we have this lovely, I don't know, what was blurry. Someone donated, so you can be someone who gets that for being the first to join today.
I'll drop my email. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. We're just going to wait for a beat and let more people join. I hope we're doing good. And I will hand over in 1 minute to the Master of Ceremony. My name is Olaide. I'm just going to give the floor to... Thank you, Alison. We'll pick that up. All right, you want to take over now, Lide, and do your thing. Morning.
Good morning, everybody. We're just gonna continue to admit people for the next few minutes and give people the opportunity to join before we start with the main. Is anybody in the kind of like waiting area? Have we admitted everybody? We can't hear you.
Oh, apologies. I was talking through mute. Everyone who's registered should just be able to come in. We don't need to admit anyone. They just come in.
Okay, we'll give it
direct access.
More minutes because it's only just bang on 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
So more minutes to join.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Dr. Adewite.
Good morning.
We're supposed to have a bit of music, so to make this uplifting, but I don't know what's happened to our music guy. Okay, a few people say they can't see. I don't know why they can't join the meeting, but bear with me. I'm just going to do a bit of firefighting back end while more people join. I'll give you a few more minutes, just allow more people joining and we can head on with it.
When I was joining, the link wasn't great, so I pasted the link into my browser and that's how I got in. So if anyone's emailing you, I would tell them to try that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that, Michelle. If someone said they couldn't get in, so I'm just trying to share the link with them.
Do we have Pastor Flory Adeyemi, Pastor Adeyemi with us?
Actually, she's the one who's got issue joining, so I'm just trying to send her the joining link. Bear with me.
I think once she joins, then we can start.
We're sorry about this. Almost at 5 past, we just get started. We just start anyways. Florence, can you be kind to share your deck, please? Share the front cover.
All right.
I think we'll make a start.
Tinuke Wokolo. Oh, Pastor Tutu. Pastor Tutu. Are you there?
Okay, I can start for you.
All right, go on. Come on, pray and let's just get on with it.
All right, then, no worries. Good morning, everyone. Let's just thank the name of the Lord. We just thank you, Father, for this absolute opportunity, Lord God, to gather here and to the next generation, to equip them for life, to equip them for balanced living, to equip them regarding their well-being. And Father, so we thank you for this opportunity this day, even as we gather together here. We pray, Lord, that you would want to take absolute control. We commit every session of this day into your hands. We say, Lord, you take absolute control. We say, Lord, the platform is suitable, Lord, for everyone to hear very well. All of the speakers, as they speak, we that we are listening, we will be able to hear well, and we will be able to use it in our personal lives, in our different lives, in the name of Jesus. We thank you. We say, Lord, let it be smooth for people to be able to join in. Whatever hiccups with the joining process, we pray that you will smoothen it out and everything goes according to plan. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you very much for that lovely prayer. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. So start off with introduction. My name is Olaide, and I'm going to be your host today. If you have any questions, please drop it into the chat. And I really do hope that you take as much information from this program today and that you enjoy yourself, and most of all, that you are blessed. So thank you for that opening prayer. We are going to start by doing a little icebreaker, because obviously online we don't get to see each other face to face. Just a little icebreaker to warm things up for us. So I have about 4 questions, and I just want you to drop into the chat yes or no, or what you think, any information that you have on this, on the questions. So they're basically myths and just ideas that people have. Let us know what you think. The first one is you can't get pregnant when you are nursing. So when you're breastfeeding, what do we think? Do we think that's true? Do we think that's false? What are your thoughts? Just put it in the group chat. Okay. So someone say myth, myth, false, false, false. Okay. Just give a few more seconds for anybody else that wants to write something in the chat. What do we think? You can't get pregnant when you are nursing. We've got another false, false, myth. Okay. Well done, everybody. Yes, you are right. It's a myth. It's false. Although you may not ovulate for several months after giving birth, breastfeeding your baby does not guarantee that you won't get pregnant. So well done to everybody that participated. That was good. So the next one, yogurt can treat a yeast infection. What do we think? Yogurt can treat a yeast infection. True, 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 false, true, not sure. Fair enough. Well done for being honest. False. Anybody else that wants to share their thoughts? Yogurt can treat a yeast infection. Got another false. Okay, it's actually false. So while eating yogurt is good for your digestive system, it doesn't affect your vagina. It won't kill the yeast, it won't kill off the yeast or produce more of the good bacteria that your vagina needs. It's best to see a doctor, I would say. But well done, everybody, for participating. So the next one. Miscarriages are caused by stress or lifting a heavy object. Oh, someone's put, I thought you meant applying it. I think even if you apply it, it doesn't treat the yeast as well. Even if you apply it. Even if you apply it, yeah. It doesn't affect your vagina, even if you apply it to your vagina. Okay, so the next one, miscarriages are caused by stress or lifting a heavy object. What do we think? Is that true? Is that false? Miscarriages are caused by stress or lifting a heavy object. Okay, possibly, but many other things could affect a miscarriage. True, 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 false. Sometimes it's true, true. Okay. Anybody else that wants to participate? That wants to give it a try? Possibly. Possibly. Okay. It's actually not true. It says most miscarriages occur because of genetic abnormalities in the embryo and are not a result of anything that you did or did not do. There are also, as somebody said, many other causes of miscarriage, which could include a chronic health condition like diabetes, physical disorders affecting the reproductive system, or like lifestyles or habits like alcohol use during pregnancy. I see that we've got some people who have just joined. So welcome to this program. And we're just doing some truth or false. Somebody's put something in the chat. Sorry, but stress can affect anything in the body. Yes, that is true. You are right. Stress can affect anything in the body. So that's I think it's more of a, there are different causes that can affect a miscarriage. So the last question is, a breast injury like falling or getting hit can cause breast cancer. What do we think? A breast injury like falling or getting hit can cause breast cancer. Negative, false, I don't think so. False, false, false. Okay. False. Okay, well done to everybody who has put something in the chat, and you are right, that is false. Breast injuries do not cause breast cancer. An injury may cause tenderness, swelling, or bruising. Okay, thank you very much for everybody that participated, and welcome to the people who have just joined us. You haven't missed much. We've prayed and we have done a little icebreaker, and we hope that you enjoy this program. So I'm going to start off by introducing some of our founders, some of our trustees, and associate pastors, sorry, associate partners. So I'll leave the founder to last, not last but not least. So we have a trustee. Okay, if you can scroll up for me. So if we could start with Ms. Kenzo Omar.
Bear with me one moment. I'm just trying to add the host on this meeting to a member of the team so she can project the slides. Apologies, we're just having a bit of technical issue that we're fighting at the back end. Bear with us, please.
No worries. What I can do is that I'll just introduce them. So as a trustee, we have Miss Kenzo Omar. We have Dr. Moji Adebiti. We have Buki Ayo Ade. As an associate partner, we have Dr. Olusegun Ilesami. We have Deborah Olaronke Akam. Have we been able to sort that out? That's fine. I'll move on to our founder. So our founder, who will be taking over next to share the mission of this program, is Toyin Taiwo, an entrepreneur and experienced IT professional who seeks excellence always and is passionate about achieving the plan and purpose of God for her life. She enjoys facilitating initiatives to give back and support others while continually seeking to collaborate with people of like minds. Feminine Health and Fibroid Network Support was birthed from her personal journey of fibroids and the desire to help and support other women. Going through feminine health challenges, support other women who are also going through feminine health challenges, to create an environment to educate, support, and empower, nurture, and address conscious and unconscious biases that women face every day. An environment for women to speak up and be empowered to live their fullest lives and achieve their very best. She also desires to educate and inform the next generation so that they are better equipped and to look out after themselves. She is blessed to be a wife and a mother of 2 wonderful children. Can we give a round of applause for Toyin Taiwo as she just shares the vision for us? Sometimes there's a little reaction where you can give a little clap.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. I was heavily depending on my slide decks, but it doesn't seem like I've got them right now, but I'm just going to go through. Thank you, Michelle. Actually, I'll do a welcome speech first, and then while I'm hoping that member of the team at the back end is trying to resolve this issue. But I just wanted to say welcome to everyone, honestly, and thank you for joining us today. Apologies for all of the technical issues that we're having. This is the FHF Network. We're called the Feminine Health and Family Support Network. And first of all, before I carry on, honestly, I want to share with you one of the scriptures that's guiding us, honestly, in doing this service, because honestly, it's a service that we do, that we provide to help educate, inform women. And one of the guiding scriptures for us is Proverbs 3:5-6. It says, trust in the Lord with all of your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take. And who we are becoming is through the gift and the call of God. And we desire to represent our God and our King, to show the love of God through serving the people that we are called to. And but all of this is unto him. And I thank God for everyone who's here today through Christ. You know, like Apostle Paul, I like to say that I'm proud to proclaim the good news and the extraordinary message, you know, of God's power, of the plan of God through rescuing everyone who trusts in him. And the plan is accomplished from start to finish only by faith. You know, today's event, educating the next generation through balancing. Our theme for today is balancing hormone, food, lifestyle, and the workplace. And the goal of today, honestly, is to bring education, information, and guidance to inspire and empower younger generation so that they can leverage on the skills and the knowledge, experiences, the life hacks, and the lessons learned from all of our speakers today in areas of health, wellness, lifestyle, and the career growth, you know. And some of the questions that I've had to ask myself in recent time is, why is a woman's health important in the workplace, you know? And honestly, it is to help increase productivity for optimum performance, proper positioning, you know, to address gender inequality in the workplace. And addressing specific women's health issues can lead to fewer sick days, increased focus, and better overall performance for women. And today's education and information, honestly, with the workplace in view and in mind, is to help empower the younger generation so that they can navigate, you know, their wellness journey and lifestyle and career progression as women, to equip them and empower them, you know, in this wellness journey as women. And I think about my young daughter. I do have a young daughter, and many young women, you know, some of the lessons, you know, that people have, and the experience that people have learned is something that we should be able to pass on, you know, so that the younger generation can leverage, and they wouldn't have to make the same errors and fall into the same kind of, you know, do the same kind of mistakes that, you know, other people have done. And so it will be a disservice to womanhood if we don't create awareness and pass on that education, information, and knowledge to help guide, impart, and better position the next generation regarding feminine wellness, you know, so that they can leverage from those experiences as well and thrive and be the very best that they can be. You know, we must be intentional in getting this education and creating this awareness and engagement through support networks like what we're doing, which FHF Support Network does, you know, where we can have conversations and education information dissemination and guiding and signposting, like we're doing today, to alleviate feminine health issues and increase wellness, encourage conversation, encourage more people to speak up, so that we can help one another. Someone else can glean and learn from our own stories, and so that they don't have to have a difficult experience as they go along. It's okay to talk about feminine health issues, and we must make that the norm, that it's all right to talk about these things, and the more we talk about it, is incredible that the more we talk about this kind of stuff, and find resolution, is also improves our mental health as well, even in having those conversations. So I'll encourage us, let's speak up, and find a support system that can help us on our feminine health journey. In creating awareness, education, information, we aim also to inform and influence better policies and consideration for a supportive work environment for women, and prioritize flexibility. So I thank you. And honestly, our mission is to speak for the disfranchised and just people who don't feel like they belong, and to create an environment where we can support, educate, and empower, nurture, and address conscious and unconscious biases that women face. So welcome to this event today, and I hope that you take a lot away from this place today. Have a good day and enjoy the seminar. God bless you.
Thank you very much for that, Toyin Taiwo. Thank you. And yes, welcome. I see we have more people who are joining us. Welcome, welcome, welcome to this program. We really do hope that you take as much away today as well. And there are some prizes, some goodies to be won as well. So next we have a quiz. I'm not sure if the IT are ready and able to share the screen for the quiz for us, our first quiz. Can everybody see that on their screen? Can everybody see the 5 questions?
Okay, people are giving thumbs up, so it looks like everyone can see it.
Okay, so just take about 5 minutes. Let's answer the questions, and then we'll see the poll at the end to see what we all think. You have 5 minutes. How are we getting on? Does anybody need more time, or can we have a look at the polls and see the right or wrong answers? If you need more time, just put it in the chat, please. If not, I'll take everybody's silence as the go ahead to move on. Okay, nobody has put anything in the chat. Okay, admin, if we could please see the polls and see the right or wrong questions.
Apparently, some people are still voting.
They're still voting. Okay. All right. I hope nobody's checking Google. View your quiz results. And if you like, please share how many you got right out of 5. So the first one is, what organ in the female reproductive system does fibroid commonly affect? And the right answer is the uterus. Somebody said that I only got 4. Well, it's 4 out of 5. Well done. That is good. So the first answer is uterus. The second question, fibroid is always cancerous. The answer is false. I absolutely guessed that and I still got it right. So well done to me. The third question, fibroid may cause heavy menstrual bleeding. The answer is true. So well done if you got that right. This one, I definitely guessed and I got it wrong. What is not, which of these is not a type of fibroid? And it's actually the one that starts with the fibromosis. I'm not sure what that is. I've never heard of any of these, but I'm sure that's something that we will learn today. I'm hoping that by the end of it, I would know what it is and what it means. And in the last but not least, fibroid may cause infertility, and the answer is true. So I got 4 out of 5. Let's see how many people got. So 4, Alison got all 5. Well done. SO, I'm not sure who that is. SO, but well done. 5 out of 5 as well. Tinu said she got it all right. Well done. Lisa got 5 out of 5. Well done. Tope got 5 out of 5. Adetutu got 3. Well done. Thank you for trying. Someone else got 5 out of 5. Michaela got 5 out of 5. Well done. Miriam got 3. Well done. And Danielle Porter got 5 out of 5. Well done. Thank you very much to everybody who participated. Thank you. We do have another quiz later on in in the program. So I'm looking forward to seeing those questions, because the questions are new to me. So I'm also participating as well. So I look for, yeah.
Thank you. Just to add to that, we do have amazing prizes, and I see that a lot of people today got 5/5. So we did the poll intentionally so that at the back end we can tell which first 5 actually got to the 5 first. So we will be reaching out to you, honestly, and we'll be sharing those names sometime before the end of this event, who the 5 winners, I think, are for the first this first quiz, and we'll do that across all the quizzes too.
Perfect. So you don't leave empty-handed. I only got 4, so better luck next time for me. I'll have to work harder the next time and use my brain a bit more. So well done to everybody that participated. Thank you very much. So we're now gonna go on to one of our speakers, Dawn Hills, who is going to share her fibroid story. So I'll just give you a little background about Dawn. So Dawn Hills is an award-winning fibroid advocate and campaigner, transformed her personal journey of pain into a powerful mission, wow, to raise awareness and amplify the voice of women who are battling fibroids. Following her own courageous journey of overcoming 16 fibroids in 2002, Dawn took to Instagram and YouTube, sparking a tidal wave of support and solidarity from women globally who had silently struggled with this condition. Can we all just give Dawn a round of applause as she starts her talk? Where's my reaction?
Thank you so much for that introduction.
Welcome, Dawn. Welcome. I can't see you. I'm sure I can hear you, but I can't.
You can hear, but you can't. Can you see me, everyone? I've got my camera on.
You do, yeah. I can see you now. Yes. If you could bring Dawn to, so that her screen is bigger, please, so we can see her beautiful face.
Please put Dawn in focus, Florence. Thank you.
Am I in focus? I don't know.
Not yet. Oh, now you are. Yes.
Oh,
welcome,
brilliant.
Dawn. Thank you so much for joining us today. I will mute myself and let you take the lead. And please, guys, if you have any questions for Dawn at the end, she'll be happy to answer any of your questions. Write it down or put it in the chat, and then we can go through it after Dawn has finished speaking.
Absolutely.
The floor is yours, Dawn.
Thank you. And no question is stupid. I always say that because we're in a safe space. We're in such an amazing event. Toyin, well done for putting this together. Well done. So my name is Dawn Hills. I am a fibroid advocate and campaigner of this very much overlooked condition. My platforms are all about empowering and supporting and also educating women on this condition. Now, I always say before I speak graphically, because there is absolutely no point as discussing such a condition and we skim over the realness of this condition. I want you all to understand what I went through, because you could be sat in this position right now trying to find answers, but you can't, I guess, really describe what it is. And that is how we get to our solutions, when we can freely speak. So take away everything from this event today, take away from the powerful stories and the education, and seek whatever it is that you need to speak. So my story goes back to when I was 14, so many years ago, and I first started my periods. From the get-go, my periods were very, very heavy and very, very painful. So I mean from day one. Now, I've got a brilliant relationship with my mum. I can speak to her about anything, and that's something that I always encourage everyone to be able to do. I know sometimes these topics are looked at as taboo, but please try and find someone that you're close to be able to communicate how you're feeling. So I went to my mum. She knew I had started my period, so I told you, Mum, they're really heavy, really painful. So she said to me that when she was a teenager, she actually started at exactly the same age, and her periods were what? They were very heavy and they were very painful. So we just thought it's a hereditary thing. Mother, daughter, we've both got the same thing. So we went on a few months, couple years, still the same thing. So my mum said, okay, I'll take you to the doctor. The doctor said to me that you're a teenager. Periods are supposed to be painful and heavy. And actually, as you get older, the period pain and the heaviness will peter out. So you'll be fine. But here is a tablet to help you. Now, I don't know at that young age of mine what that tablet was, but what I do remember is that it sent my hormones into whack. So I think where I was already a teenager going through it all, it just sent me a bit crazy. So my mum said, you're not taking that anymore. You'll just take ibuprofen, paracetamol, and just carry on. And that's what I did. So still heavy, painful periods, but at about 16, 17, I was at an all-girls school and we started to discover the pill. And I found out through friends that the pill could help with heavy, painful periods. So I went to see the sexual health nurse. I think I was given microgynon at first. That's what they tend to give you here in the UK. Took that, it didn't really agree with me. But then as I got older and went through different pills, I went on one called Cerazette. Cerazette is a progesterone-only pill, which meant for me that it took away my periods. In my 20s, I lived my best life. I had no periods. I had no pain. I could go out whenever I wanted to. I didn't have to plan my life around my periods because they were gone. In my 20s, I lived my best life. However, we got to my 30s and I knew within that decade I'd want to have children. So I decided to come off the pill. Now, when I came off the pill, I was met with excruciating period pain, extremely heavy periods as well. And I thought, well, the doctor told me when I was 16, 14, 15, 16, that my periods were going to be amazing. I'm older now, but I was met with that. But we're told throughout our lives that heavy, painful periods are normal. And that's what I thought it was. It was just normal. I'll just go and buy my Super Plus tampons and my heavy pads to just, stem the flow of the bleeding. So I just continued. In 2016, I was working at a very toxic workplace, very stressed out. And I started to suffer with a pain on the left-hand side of my abdomen. And it was a dull but sharp pain. And I thought at the time, it's probably stress. Then I thought it could be something to do with my period cycle, because like I said, I had been suffering with that. But the pain just persisted and I thought I'll go to the doctor. So I went to my male doctor and he said to me, Dawn, it's probably got something to do with your cycle. Just take ibuprofen, you'll be fine. The pain persisted. I thought, this is not right. I went back again. He said, it probably is something to do with your cycle. Now, ladies, I always say, if you know your body, you know when something's not right. So I decided to go and see a female doctor. So I went to see the female doctor and she said, Dawn, I don't know what this is, but it sounds like it might be a cyst on your ovary. Now, in my 30s, my early 30s, I don't want to hear there's a cyst on my ovary or anything like that, because like I said, in that decade, I want to try and have children. So I was so scared. But she said to me, I'll send you for an ultrasound scan at the hospital. So off I went for the scan. The sonographer scanned me and she said, everything looks fine, healthy and normal, but you've got 2 fibroids. And I was like, what? Who? What's fibroids? And she said, you're going to have to make an appointment with your GP and he will tell you. So I had to go back to my original GP, so the one that told me it's probably got something to do with your cycle. And he said, yes, Dawn, you do have 2 fibroids. They're 4 centimeters in size, but don't worry, they're normal and common, and you just have to deal with the pain with an ibuprofen. So off I went, because he was my doctor and I believed what he said. He told me they're normal and common, there was nothing to worry about. However, after that time, for 6 years thereafter, I suffered with what I always describe as the dictionary definition of fibroids. If you go and look on the NHS website here in England, you will probably see my face under fibroids, because the pain and the suffering just got worse. So I'll describe what I had. So I had, like I said, the pain in the left-hand side of my abdomen that then went to the right-hand side. So if you imagine your full stomach area, abdomen in pain, and I mean constantly, not just when I was on my period. I had a leg pain that ran from the abdomen all the way down to my toe on the left-hand side, and I could literally draw a line. It was almost like a sciatic pain that went down. I had back pain, butt cheek pain. I was constantly going to the toilet to wee. So if you imagine wanting to leave your house, you go to the toilet, as most of us do, so you're good and fine. And literally 5-10 minutes later, I need to go again and fully release. I had headaches. I felt nauseous. I felt very, very fatigued. The heartbreaking thing is that my stomach started to protrude out and I looked pregnant. But at the time when I was starting to try to have a baby, I couldn't because I was actually rendered infertile. This went on for a 6-year period. And throughout that period, I went back to my doctor to describe my symptoms. And he told me that it was normal and it was common and there was nothing that, they could do. Now, within that time, I had twisted his arm and I went to see a gynecologist and they rescanned me, and my fibroids, the 2 that I had actually grown. So they were 6 and 7 centimeters in size. But at that point, even though they had grown, they never ever put in a management plan in place to say what we would do or what these fibroids are or what they could be doing with your body. I was still suffering. In the pandemic 2020, I had actually gone to A&E because my symptoms had got so bad. I was met with a female doctor. Again, I just laugh because sometimes you think some medical professionals, it's just crazy. She told me that, everything seemed fine. But actually, what she was feeling up inside of me, it felt as though I was pregnant. And I said, I'm not pregnant. I absolutely know that I'm not pregnant. I'm telling you what these pains are. I'm not pregnant. I'm in pain. In 2021, I was at my lowest, and I actually opened up to a work colleague and said, what I was suffering with. And I never do that. I'm a very private person. I don't talk about my business at work. And she said, Dawn, remember, we've got the private health insurance. Try and get on that and see, what they can do. So off to a gynecologist I went. And this gynecologist, I always say, he saved my life because he had time for me. He wanted to see me and he wanted to listen, hear what I was saying to him. He sat me down. I described everything. He said, okay, Dawn, we're going to scan you. So he gave me a transvaginal ultrasound. Now, this is a scan that's a wand and it goes up inside your vagina and it can see what's going on in your uterus. So he went up in there and he did what he had to do. And he said, Dawn, come and sit down. He said, Dawn, you've got at least 6 fibroids and the biggest is the size of a grapefruit. So this is the one that was protruding out my belly. And he said, because of this, we're going to have to give you an open myomectomy operation. Now, this operation resembles a C-section. Now, if I was ever to have such an operation, that was to give birth to a baby, not to give birth to tumors. It was absolutely heart-wrenching. And I cannot tell you, when he told me about how many fibroids and what type of operation, I just zoned out. I couldn't hear what he was saying thereafter. And I always say, if you're going to such appointments, please, 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 please take someone with you, because there's a lot of information they will tell you. And if you are shocked into something like I was, you're not going to hear what that doctor consultant is going to say to you. So please take somebody with you. I had to go and email him all my questions thereafter because, like I said, I zoned out. In 2022, we were able to have that operation. So in January 2022, I had the operation. In the morning, he came around. He said, Dawn, the operation has been a success. I've removed the fibroids. And I said, that's fantastic. He said, do you want me to show you what I took out? I said, okay, you're going to show me the 6 fibroids. He took out 16 fibroids. He left 2 inside. I had a total of 18 fibroids. The picture is on my social platform. Please don't eat before looking at the picture. It's on my Instagram page and you can have a look at the fibroids he took out. I was absolutely in shock. And it just showed what such can do to your body and why I was in so much pain for so long. And it's just horrific to see what can grow inside your body. And when you're not given a management plan, you know, how that can grow. Remember, I had 2. I was told I had 2, and it led to 18 fibroids. So that was January 2022. Unfortunately, I didn't have a healing that went well. I was very sick on it. My wound wasn't healing properly. I actually had to have an emergency blood transfusion a week later because I'd lost a lot of blood. But thereafter, it took me about 8 weeks to heal, and the recovery, honestly, it changed my life. When I had my first proper period after recovery, it just blew my mind as to how a period is supposed to be. No pain, hardly any bleeding. That's what a period is supposed to be. And it blows my mind that at the age of 39 years old, I was having a proper period. That was in the January of 2022. And in the July of 2022, I fell pregnant. And in 2023, I had my daughter. The fibroids caused that infertility for me because they were in a place within my uterus that would have never, ever, ever allowed implantation to take place. So I could have been trying till kingdom come. I would have not had my daughter. So I say this to say, there are some things that I did that now, you know, we can look back at what we've done in life, and you know, we can hit ourselves up in the head, but education is key. I say to people to speak up. I didn't do that as much. I can put my hand and say that. I didn't speak up because I believed what all the medical professionals were saying to me. But you know your own body. You are the expert over your own body. And if someone tells you that it's good and correct, whatever's happening with your body, and you know it's not, you seek that second, third, fourth, fifth opinion. You are entitled to do that. You are allowed to do that. Just because they have that qualification, they don't know what's going on in your body. So seek that second opinion. Educate yourself on the condition. Toyin has thrown this amazing event today. You'll be educated on the condition, right? Seek it so you can go into your meetings, your consultations, and you can speak up and you can say, actually, I think it might be this, and you direct the conversation. Also take somebody in to these consultations with you. It is so important, so they can be an extra mouthpiece for you. They can be ears for you. They can listen, interject, remind you of things. Sometimes we've got a list of symptoms and you can't remember. Even I reel off what I suffered with, I always miss out one or two, right? So they can go, oh, but actually remember, you have this going on. It is so important. But I spread my word and I do as much as I can, because I never, ever, ever want any woman to go through what I went through and for so long. And I want you to be able to get and reach your goals quicker than I did. This condition, like I said, is overlooked, but it is horrendous. I speak to hundreds of women each week and I know how they're suffering. I know how I suffered. So that is my story. Again, Toyin, thank you so much. If you have any questions for me, put them away. I will answer them. No question is stupid. You know, this is a safe space and we need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
That's right. Thank you so much, Dawn, for coming, and thank you for sharing your story. And it is real and it is okay to talk about these things. Please speak up, get help, get a support system, you know, join up groups that are talking about, you know, your situation. Find someone to hold your hand, someone you can even talk to, because that also helps your mental wellness, you know, while you're going through what you're going through. Speak up. Thank you so much, Dawn, for coming and for sharing your story. And if anyone's got any questions for Dawn, please put in the chat. And whilst we're waiting, stick around for a bit, please, Dawn, while we play the video for some of the work that we've done. Well, what we've done last year and a bit of what we've done previous years. And if we've got any question in the chat for you, we can bring you back shortly just so you can answer that before we go to the next speaker. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dawn, for joining us. Did you want to do the video first and then the questions for Dawn, or should we?
Oh, have you got questions? I was just saying while we were waiting for questions to come, that's what. But if you've got a question, then go on then, please.
We've got one question and I was noting down a question or two as well.
Okay, go on then.
For Dawn. So the first question I can see in the chat is so it's just gone up from Adetutu, and she said, why did the doctor leave 2 fibroids? So you mentioned that you had 18, 16 were removed, but 2 were left there. Why were they removed? So why were they left in?
So they were 2 tiny fibroids left in to give me a chance at conceiving. So what he said is that he didn't want to cut at my uterus and then do some damage. And then that whole process of trying to conceive and conceive successfully, it wouldn't have worked. So he left them in. So it did work. I check on those 2 fibroids. So I've had about 3 scans since. and they are tiny seedlings. I've actually got them down to a smaller size. So that's the other thing. There's lots of food that we can eat and add to our diets and different things that we can do to try and eliminate them. So what I've been doing has been working. So that's why he left 2 in, just to give me a chance at conceiving.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much. So another question that I have is that someone T said, thank you for sharing your story. Did the fibroids grow back with pregnancy?
No, so that's another thing I
from
would say. If you are pregnant, you have to be very vocal at the fact of you've had fibroids, you've had an operation, or you've got fibroids. Every midwife appointment, I would tell them what has happened. They gave me a specialist gynecologist to monitor my pregnancy as well. So that's another thing that you should get. And I always ask them, measure those 2 fibroids. I want to know what's happened. But I was very, very blessed in the fact that they did not grow an inch or a millimeter. And then, like I said, I think 9 weeks after I gave birth to my daughter, I went to see my gynecologist. So he rescanned, and yeah, they started to get smaller.
Thank you for that. So that was from Tope. T said, thank you for sharing your story, Dawn. Please, could you speak more on having a plan at early diagnosis?
Yeah, so what you should be doing. If they say, like, for instance, with myself, you've got 2 fibroids, they're 4 centimeters, right? So what I should have been saying is, okay, they're 4 centimeters. Are you telling me that they're so small that there's nothing we can do because I'm in a lot of pain? I'm in a lot of pain. How can we manage that? So maybe he could have suggested, what are the treatment that's on offer for such small fibroids? Or is there some sort of contraception that you could go on that could alleviate heavy menstrual bleeding, for instance? Like, what is the actual issue that you want to deal with right now if you didn't want to have an operation or a procedure? Or if you do want to have an operation or procedure, these are the different ones that we could look at. So it's about coming to a plan together. So a lot of consultants will say that, a lot of good consultants will say, we are to make a mutual plan. But what is the actual issue that is really causing you problems? So at the time, it was a lot of pain around my periods. It was a lot of heaviness. So we should have looked at that. And maybe he would have said to me, okay, with the 2 fibroids, we could watch and wait. Or actually, Dawn, there are some procedures or operations that you can have. So it's about trying to put a management plan together from the outset.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Another question from S says, how long was your recovery after your, and forgive me, I can't pronounce this word. What was the surgery that you had?
We couldn't even pronounce these words after. So it's an open myomectomy. All of the words are very tongue twisting. So my recovery was 8 weeks. At the 8-week mark, I remember it was around my birthday. That was the first time me leaving the house and feeling fantastic. So it was a long recovery for me. But remember, everybody's body is different. I've spoken to women who have recovered in less time. It's just what your body's going to do. And as I said in my story, unfortunately, I had to have an emergency blood transfusion because I lost a lot of blood. That takes you back. Then someone asked how long before I fell pregnant. So I had my operation, it was the 6th of January 2022. You know when you have to put your mind back because you've been speaking last year and it's like, when was it again? So January 2022, 6th of January 2022, I had the operation, and I remember it was 13th of July I found out that I was pregnant. I remember doing the pregnancy test, and that's when I found out. So I would have been pregnant in the June but wouldn't have known. So yeah, in the July. So that's how quick. So it was like a 6 month period. Okay. And you can't, just to put a little thing in there, after you open myomectomy, they will say to you, leave it between 3 and 6 months before you start trying, but your consultant will say to you what it is. And he said to me, try after 3 months, but we left it a little bit longer because my body wasn't ready. So again, you listen to your own body with regards to that.
Yeah, very, very true. Okay, so what food reduces fibroids?
Alison. And I just add one thing. It's not about the body to be ready. The uterus is not ready and dangerous, because if you have a pregnancy after such amount of fibroid to be removed, there's a lot of scarring. And if you feel pregnant earlier than 6 months, it may burst the uterus.
Thank you.
Thank you. Caveat that, just sorry. When I say body to be ready, I don't mean to not look at what the doctor said. I meant in a sense of He told me 3 months, but I wasn't ready at the 3-month mark, so I left it longer. So just to explain what I meant there, but he told me 3 months. Some consultants will say 6 months, as Ali's just said. It depends on the operation, what they have done to you.
Yeah, yeah. So one of the last questions is, what food reduces fibroid?
So green tea extract is really good, but if you look at sort of loose green tea, there has been a very small study. It's very small, so we need more research, which had a section of women who took green tea over a certain amount of time, and the ones that did, they saw a reduction in fibroids. So in the community, we love green tea, but again, like I said, it's a very, very small study that was taken on this. So that's why people like myself and other campaigners, we are looking to look at more research as to what can help reduce, because it's not just looking at the foods. We have to look at the fibroids themselves. Why do they grow? What is going on in the lining of the uterus? We have to start at that top level. But there are things that you can, of course, in your daily kind of activities, you know how we talk about less red meat, no alcohol, things like that. As you would to have a healthy body, you can look at all of that. But green tea is one of those ones from the actual research that we've got out there.
Amazing.
Thank you so much, Dawn.
And that's really interesting, Dawn, because the next speaker actually is going to be talking a lot about food and how that affects, all of these feminine health issues. That's amazing. Thank you so much, Dawn. If there's any other question, I mean, if you stick around for a bit, I know you have to go soon, but we will kind of roll up those questions to you at some point. In the meantime, we're just going to share that video because of time, so we can get on to the next speaker, who's going to reel into food and how that affects these feminine health issues as well. Thank you so much. Okay, there's another question for Dawn. Dawn, are you going to stay around for a bit, and then we can just ask this?
I can only do 5 minutes and I have to go because of my daughter, but I'll quickly do 2 questions. Yes, I had a C-section because of my operation. I did. My handle is at Dawn _heels, HEELS.
Yes, please follow Dawn.
Put in the chat so that people can
Yes, I will.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very, very much for joining us, Dawn. So now we have a quick video. Are we still doing the video?
Yes, we are. Thank you, Dawn. Whilst you put in there, I'm just going to encourage people to please follow Dawn, see some of the amazing work she's doing as well. She's award-winning advocate for fibroids.
Yeah, so now we have a short video on the impacts that we've had over the last 3 years before we move on to our next speaker. Is the video ready?
Okay, let's bring in I know Dr. Kane is ready. Let's bring Dr. Kane in and we can do the video much later.
Okay, so next we have Dr. Kane. Dr. Kane is a board certified registered pharmacist and nutritionist with over 18 years of experience in the health space. Her passion is to help individuals achieve optimal health and increase their vitality and lead healthy, holistic lives through functional medicine approaches. She served as a board member and program development chair of the Michigan coordinating body of the Association of Diabetes Care and Education Specialists. She is currently on the Pharmacist and Therapeutic Committee of a major pharmacy benefit manager in Michigan. She's the CEO of Acuity, a mobile application geared towards bridging the knowledge gap that exists in the public in areas of health and medication information. And she's also the founder of Optimal Health First Consulting that specializes in weight loss, pre-diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and hormonal imbalances. Can we give a round of applause for Dr. Kene and just welcome her into the chat? Good afternoon, Dr. Kene.
Good afternoon, good morning. I'm joining you from the US, so good morning and good afternoon, everyone.
Good morning to you.
So glad to be here.
Over to you.
I would like to just share my slides, if I may. So thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to serve your community, and such a blessing to run into Tony and do some nice work with her. So I would just like to touch today on nutrition. I want to highlight the impact of nutrition on our overall health, right? Yes, I know our focus today is women's health, but some of the things I'll share today is impactful for both men and women, okay? So I'll do my best to cover all that needs to be addressed, take notes, and I'll be happy to answer questions at the end of the presentation. Okay, I think the slides just disappeared. Let's see.
Bear with us, please. Can you maybe stop sharing, Dr. Kene, and reshare? Okay, there you go.
Okay, let me okay, let me go out and come back in. Okay, pardon me as I try to locate this again. Okay, there we go. Okay, does everyone see my slide okay?
Yes.
Yes,
awesome. We can. Okay, let's get started. So today the goal is for us to understand how the health is influenced by our autonomic nervous system. Don't worry, I'll do a quick overview on the autonomic nervous system so you can understand where I'm coming from. And then we'll identify foods that support this very important system that we all have and how it can help facilitate healing, right? And the part of the autonomic nervous system that we need to leverage to encourage healing. So we're going to talk about that. And then I'll highlight some lifestyle practices that you can use to optimize your health. So now let's quickly go into the overview of the autonomic nervous system. So when you hear this, don't be scared. I know it may be unfamiliar to most of you, but this is just a system that is not consciously directed by us, right? You don't have to think twice. You don't have to make your heart beat. Your heart just beats on its own. So this is what we call involuntary activities, right? The heart just beats on its own, and you have digestive processes just take place. When you put food in your mouth, you have digestive processes that begin to occur. You release saliva into your mouth to help with the mastication of food and digestion of food that really begins in your mouth, and breathing, right? So how does this impact our general health? So I just want us to focus on two interesting divisions of the autonomic nervous system, you may have heard of the fight or flight mode or rest repair mode. So fight or flight, just think about it as the sympathetic division of your autonomic nervous system. So say you're just walking outside in front of your house, and a ferocious looking beast just approaches you. Let me put the chats up. So if a ferocious looking beast approaches you, what do you do? Put in the chats. I try to be very interactive with my audience when I present. Put in the chat, what will you do? A ferocious looking beast approaches you. What will you do? Will you try to hug this beast? Will you try to give them a handshake? What would you do? Let me look at the chat. Run away, fly, get out of the way calmly. I like that. Run, run, run. Yes, that is the reason for the fight or flight mode, the sympathetic division, is to save you from emergency situations. It is supposed to be an acute response to danger, what your body perceives as danger, okay? So when you're in that emergency situation, what happens? Your eyes dilate, your pupils dilate so you can see clearly to run or pick up a weapon to fight that animal. You won't be thinking of that. You won't be thinking about reproduction, making babies. You won't be thinking about eating at that time. No, you're thinking about running or defending yourself, right? That is the sympathetic division. It is acute. Now, the other part, which we were designed to remain in long term, is the parasympathetic division. This is the rest, repair, rejuvenate, regenerate, reproduce mode. This is where we're supposed to be. At this mode, our blood pressure is under control. Our pupils are not dilated, they're constricted. We're able to digest food, we're able to eat and assimilate the nutrients of the food we're eating. It's one thing to eat your food, and it's another thing to be able to assimilate the nutrients from the food, okay? So gut health is very important. Now, if you're in this phase, you're able to get pregnant, you're able to shrink fibroids, you're able to just enjoy beautiful overall health. That is where we're supposed to be. Now, it's very interesting to note that you can only be in one mode at a time. You cannot be in the sympathetic and parasympathetic state at the same time. But there's a way. Remember, this is the autonomic nervous system. We're not consciously directing this. However, we can facilitate shifting into the parasympathetic state where you have healing, repair, regeneration, reproduction. We can do that, but we just have to learn how to do that. There are certain foods we can take that encourages the parasympathetic state. There are certain things we can do to encourage the parasympathetic state. The problem with our modern world is people are staying too long in the sympathetic state. That's why we have all kinds of chronic diseases. We have cancer, we have fibroids, adenomyosis, all kinds of fertility challenges, because people are in the sympathetic state. We are not designed to be there chronically. No. Okay, if God forbid your house is on fire, you won't sit down there thinking about having babies. You won't sit down there thinking about eating some delicious meal. No, you're thinking about running out of that burning house. That is why you need the sympathetic nervous system. You need that portion. It's important. But after you've run out of that state of danger, you want to switch back to the parasympathetic state. For professional ladies here, when you're at work, you don't want to be thinking about sleeping, relaxing. No, you want to be ready to handle the stress in front of you, right? So you need the sympathetic division to help you work, right? In case you're in a stressful situation at work, but you need to switch back out, because if you stay long-term in the sympathetic state, you are prone, you are predisposed, and you can easily precipitate all kinds of diseases, all kinds of problems, okay? Now, what is prevalent in the sympathetic state? If you stay long-term in that sympathetic state, you get to have issues with sleep. Your sleep quality will be impaired. You can easily gain weight and retain fat in the midsection area. That is a problem, right? Because that's when you can have all kinds of what we call metabolic disorders, from prediabetes to diabetes to other endocrine or hormonal related problems. And I want you to know that fat is very interesting. It actually operates like an endocrine organ, like a hormonal organ. It releases estrogen. And for those who have challenges with fibroids, adenomyosis, endometriosis, those are estrogen dominant problems. So if you have exposure to synthetic estrogens and then you have a lot of fat deposition in your body, you're going to be having added estrogen circulating in your body. Now we know if you stay longer in the sympathetic state, you get more fat deposition. That means you're likely to have estrogen dominance. So I hope everyone is beginning to see some connection here. And now if you continue in that sympathetic state, you can have high blood pressure because guess what? You're in front of that ferocious looking beast. Your blood vessels will be constricted. Your blood vessels will be constricted because you are ready to fight or run. So guess what happens? If your blood vessels are constricted, that means your blood pressure will be high. And your brain tells your liver, release energy to this person so they can fight or run. So what happens? Your liver stores glucose. The main fuel for the human body is glucose. You may call it sugar. So the brain tells the liver, start to release glucose. This person needs energy to fight or run. So you're more prone to high blood sugar. So that's why we have patients that are pre-diabetic or have diabetes, either type 1 or type 2. When they are sick, what happens? We have to initiate changes in their insulin dose because the sugar is higher in the blood. Because when a person is sick, they are under stress. They are in the sympathetic zone. So by default, they tend to have higher blood sugar. So at that point in time, for those who are on insulin, their doses may have to be increased to help manage spikes in blood sugar. Okay, in the sympathetic state, it's difficult to digest food. Okay, you may not know you're in the sympathetic state, but you could be. If you're under a lot of stress, or if you're not managing stress properly, if you're not strategically shifting into the parasympathetic state, the rest, repair. Infertility is very common in the sympathetic state. Immune system compromisation is common. That means this person can easily have all kinds of sicknesses, from allergies to infections, cold, the common cold is like common to them, So it's just not a good idea to be in the sympathetic state long term. So what is dominant in the parasympathetic state? Your body heals. You lose weight easily. You sleep better. Your blood sugar and blood pressure are normalized. Your reproductive organs function perfectly. You can easily get pregnant. You shrink fibroids. You resolve endometriosis. Your hormonal levels become normalized. Your digestive system works optimally. Your liver is able to detoxify your body efficiently. The liver is a detoxification system. In fact, you have 3 main organs that helps to remove poisons from your body. Your colon is one of them. Your kidney is one of them, and then your liver. These 3 organs you must protect, not just for hormonal balance, but for optimal health. Your colon connected to your gut, your kidney that filters out your blood, takes out poisons from your blood, and then your liver that helps to normalize not just your hormones, the main organ to metabolize estrogens. You need to protect your liver. So these 3 organs are so important. And if you're in the parasympathetic state, you are protecting your liver. You're helping it do what it's designed to do. I know there's so many detoxification diets out there, detox this, detox that. My goodness, your body is a powerful machine that can detoxify itself. You just have to empower your body. Your body wants to live. Your body wants you to live a full life. What you say abundant life? Yes, you are designed to live an abundant life, but you need to help your body do that. You have everything you need to heal. Just give your body the right ammunition. If you stay in the parasympathetic state, your immune system will be optimized and you won't easily fall sick. You have better concentration, better performance at work, and yes, guess what? You have greater productivity. Okay, so now let's go into the food. Now you understand, you have some idea of what the autonomic nervous system is about. I just tried to make it, summarize it. There's so much more to the autonomic nervous system. So now let's talk about foods that will support the regeneration, rejuvenation, repair, reproduction. Let's talk about that. Now, the top of my list here is prebiotics. Has anyone heard about prebiotics? Let me open the chat again. Has anyone heard about prebiotics? If you have, please enter in the chat. Just awesome. Yes, yes, yes. Awesome. So prebiotics, what are they? They are dietary fiber. I just want to simplify everything to everyone today. When you see the word prebiotics, pre, before, biotics, life, before life. What can we do before life? What do we need? We need fiber, 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 dietary fiber. You need fiber to balance your hormones, to help you stay in the parasympathetic state. You need dietary fiber. What are these? Beans, legumes, lentils, black beans, garbanzo beans. These are prebiotics. Plantains, I'm talking green plantains preferably, okay? Green plantains. Now, when you have ripe plantains or the very, very ripe bananas, you have more of fructose in those because the sugar, what is responsible for the sweetness in fruits is fructose. You don't want to be ingesting fructose, okay? That's why I am not a proponent for drinking juices, okay? You know how you have juicers and you just put your fruits and vegetables in there. If you have to do juicing, make sure you have at least 80 to 90% vegetables in there and 10 to 20% fruits. Because when you use a juicer, you're getting rid of all that beautiful fiber, all that residue that can help balance your hormones, and you're just drinking pure fructose. And yes, you get some vitamins and minerals, but you don't get the fiber. The fiber is to help modulate spikes in blood sugar. What you don't want is spikes in blood sugar. Because when you have a spike in blood sugar, what you have is an initial spike in what we call insulin, the hormone, very, very important hormone that helps to regulate sugar levels in your blood. If you have continual spikes in insulin, that is not good because the organ that helps to release insulin is called the pancreas. Over time, that organ becomes sluggish. And if that organ becomes sluggish, your sugar that is supposed to be moved by insulin from the blood to your cells that need it would not work properly. So if insulin is not working properly, guess what? Sugar will sit in your blood. That is not good. If you have higher concentration of sugar in your blood, you can easily become pre-diabetic. And if that's not taken care of, you can progress to full-blown diabetes. And there's so many complications to diabetes if it's not managed properly. So you need fiber, you need your prebiotics. And another very important thing I want to share here is that insulin causes fat to deposit in your body, to deposit not just on organs of your body, but on organs other than your liver, but eventually it would saturate your liver. The liver is not supposed to be saturated with fat. You may have never taken alcohol in your life, but if you have poorly controlled blood sugar, your liver will look as though you've been drinking alcohol. That is what we call non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Remember, the liver is the important organ to metabolize estrogen. If you have challenges with fibroids, endometriosis, adenomyosis, the last thing you want is for your liver to be compromised. You want your liver to be in great shape. So you don't want to be in a situation where you have fat sitting on your liver. Okay, and it's very interesting because this non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is tends to be asymptomatic. That means you don't really have symptoms. Is when it's really, really bad, that's when people start having lower back pain and things like that. So be very mindful of that. Make sure you're having your fiber. So prebiotics, onions, garlic, oats, probiotics, those promote life. So you're thinking fermented foods. What fermented foods can I take? You can take iru, dawa ogili, yogurt, preferably plant-based yogurt. The reason why I say plant-based is because the whole milk is high in saturated fat, right? When you're trying to balance your hormones, you want to be careful about the amounts of saturated fat you are ingesting. That's where we talk about minimizing intake of red meat, or if you're really serious, you want to go hardcore into shrinking your fibers without surgery or medications, you really want to abstain from saturated fats, red meat, okay? So green tea is your best friend. The previous speaker talked a little bit about the study that was published, but my goodness, there's so many studies that have addressed the EGCG, the antioxidant in green tea, and how powerful it is in shrinking, literally killing the fibroid cells, okay? Healthy fats are great for you. By healthy fats, I'm referring to avocado, olive oil, nuts, water. So these foods, these items here would help shift you into the parasympathetic state, okay? This is what you want. So what you don't want, caffeinated drinks. Coffee is not your friend if you're trying to balance your hormones. Alcohol, we talked about that. Look at your food labels, read your food labels. If you see added sugar, put it down, don't purchase it. Please avoid packaged foods that have added sugar. High fructose corn syrup, avoid. Please, that is in many packaged foods. Look at your labels, okay? Look at your nutrition labels. If you see high fructose corn syrup, throw that food away. Don't purchase it. Many beverages, commercial beverages, have high fructose corn syrup. We talked about red meat and dairy, okay? So let me move along to lifestyle. So what lifestyle practices can we do to help balance our hormones and increase productivity? One thing we need to consider is stimulating our vagus nerve. So let me just talk about this. This is a very important cranial or brain nerve that is the longest nerve in the body, but is very important because it's the main nerve of the parasympathetic nervous system. So if you can stimulate this nerve, it can help you shift out of that fight or flight mode and get into the parasympathetic mode. So what can you do? Deep breathing, deep breathe, okay? There's something we call box breathing. Inhale to the count of 4, hold to a count of 4, and then exhale to a count of 8 or longer. The longer you exhale, the better you feel. I do this all the time. I've taught a lot of people how to do this, and trust me, it is magic. It calms you down, and it helps to push down your blood pressure. Humming, singing, light exercise. Please, light exercise is very important to help balance your hormones and put you into the parasympathetic state. Don't go into high intensity interval training. Be careful, because the last thing you want is to trigger the fight or flight mode. And one of the main hormones that circulates in that is called cortisol. That is the primary stress hormone. You don't want to be in that situation, okay? So don't go and subject yourself to hardcore, high intensity exercises, okay? Especially if you want to balance your hormones. Swimming, light jogging, walking, do that every day. Sing, gargling, believe it or not, gargling, cold immersion. So if you cannot immerse yourself in a tub of cold water, what you could do, just splash cold water on your face. Splash cold water on your face, or put a damp cloth at the back of your neck. These things would help push down the stress levels and put you into the parasympathetic state. Sometimes you could just pour cold water on your head, okay? Go out to walk in nature. Expose yourself to sunlight. Vitamin D deficiency is strongly correlated with fibroids and hormonal imbalances. It's also connected to depression, especially the seasonal affective depression. So be careful to make sure you're exposing yourself to sunlight. If you don't have access to sunlight where you are in your geographical zone, you may want to consider taking a vitamin D supplement. Go do a blood work. If you are deficient, you may have to be on vitamin D 50,000 units once a week. Okay, sleep is your friend. Your hormones will not be balanced if you're not sleeping, if you're not resting. You need to sleep. Melatonin is very important to balance your hormones. Melatonin is a hormone that is released upon darkness. So when the sun goes down, you release melatonin that helps you relax, that puts you in the parasympathetic state. In fact, majority of healing takes place while you sleep. Weight loss, majority of weight loss takes place while you sleep. Be very careful to make sure you're not sleep deprived, okay? If you want to conceive, if you want to shrink fibroids, I tell folks, treat yourself like a baby. Be kind, sleep, forgive, be in a state of gratitude, maintain loving relationships, and just realize that some things can wait. Don't feel like you need to accomplish everything now, 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 now. Pace yourself. Pace yourself. The last thing you want to do is overwhelm yourself. And I cannot ignore this point. Very important point. Spiritual inclinations is very important to helping you stay in the parasympathetic state. And this is not me making things up. There are studies that have shown that those who meditate and pray more, they tend to have less stress or better management of stress. Okay. By praying, I don't mean waking up 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. to pray. I mean getting your sleep and just waking up in the morning after at least 7 hours of sleep. Be thankful, pray, meditate. And trust me, laughter is important. Laugh. Find reasons to laugh. Okay, laughter has been shown to help push you in the parasympathetic state. Do things that you enjoy. Okay. So remember this, please. Effective and consistent parasympathetic shifting from the fight or flight mode to the rest repair mode will ultimately increase productivity. So thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for listening. And I hope this was helpful to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kenneth. It was amazing. So guys, we are shifting. We're not staying in the flight or fight mode. We are shifting to the rest and to the repair mode. Thank you so much. We are running really behind time, but does anybody have any questions for Dr. Kenneth? We can take 2 questions before we quickly move on to our next speaker. I'll literally give us 1 minute to please ask our questions, put it in the chat. If not, then I will move on to our next speaker.
And I mean, if people can think about questions now, if they come back to you later, just put it in the chat. We can collect them and get them to Dr. Kenneth to answer them, and we can try and get back to you with those.
Yeah. Okay, I can't see anything popping up, so I'm just going to move on to our next speaker. Our next speaker
Thank you so much, Dr. Kenneth. I appreciate your time,
Yes,
and it's been a wonderful, wonderful learning. That for me, that's a new part, that parasympathetic state and the flight state. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Okay, we do have one question from Tope. Thank you so much, Doctor, for sharing. Do you advocate on vegan diet?
Oh, good question. No. The reason is because you do need some nutrients that only animals provide. I'm sorry. Most people on the vegan diet, trust me, they're on B12 supplementation. They're on some other kind of supplementation. You know, B12 is so important for your nervous system to function in the first place. So you want to be very careful about these fad diets, really. I would prefer you consider a plant-based diet, right? So you can do more like 80% plants and 20% animals. So that would look like maybe having animals 2 days a week, or maybe 3 days a week, right? But you need the nutrients from animals. And for those who have fibroids, they tend to be anemic. And you know, the animals have what we call heme iron. The heme iron is more bioavailable than the iron from plants. So you want to be very careful that you're not depriving yourself of optimal nutrients. So it's better for you to take maybe a piece of chicken breast and some beans, because combining a plant source of iron with an animal source of iron will give you this nice synergistic effect. So you will boost your iron levels much faster and heal anemia, iron deficiency anemia. So be careful about all these restrictive diets.
Yeah, thank you very, very much. Alison has just said, she said, when I was vegan, I had no fibroids, but I had to start eating fish again due to lack of B12. The doctor is right. Thank you so much, Dr. Ken, and we appreciate you joining us today. Thank you. If you have any more questions, just put it in the group chat in the chat, and we can come back to it later. So our next speaker is Dr. Kenzo Omar. She has a diploma in gynecology and early pregnancy scanning. She's a consultant gynecologist and obstetrician since 2005 in the UK at Princess Royal University Hospital, King's College Trust. In addition to clinical work, she was the lead obstetric for 8 years and now leads for oncology and complex gynecology. She has publications and case reports in TOG, RCOG, and BMJ. I'm sure she will explain to us what those are. She has over 30 years of experience in all subspecialists in gynecology, including menopause and HRT advice, including implants in session. She currently works in BMI Solon, Chelsfield, Blackheath, and Newfield Brentwood Hospital. She's qualified to give advice to women in difficulties in making decisions about any type of gynecological surgery and their outcomes and follow-ups. Can we please give a warm welcome to Dr. Kenzo Omar? Don't forget your reaction buttons and your clapping and love hearts.
Thank you so much for this presentation. And I'm very pleased to be a part of the FHFF, and thank everyone contributed to this be going and making this presentation and making me part of it. I'm very privileged to be a part of this community. I don't know if you have, I just put really a little bit of the presentation. I don't want, after that excellent presentation about the lifestyle and how we can preserve our health, to medicalize a lot. I don't like to medicalize too many things because the lifestyle and medicine go side by side. Not everything will be treated by medicine and surgery. But as the previous speaker, when she had a problem, the only thing which was medicine and surgery help her out. So we have to have a balance between two, and we have to work side by side. Females' hormone and imbalance of the hormone can affect a lot about not only genital area, it will affect whole body. And as I said, the lifestyle, it affects the hormone, but we have also the medical side and problem with the hormone imbalance. And some of the females, they are very lucky. Everything is going in the right direction, and the others, they are not. But during my experience, I made different type of women with a different education, with a different level and a higher level. I found out, I'm not sure if there is any teachers in the audience, they are not aware of the hormones and the physiology of the body of the women and how it is work. So I'm not sure whether they study biology. Yes, please, next one. They study biology in a right way or not in a right way. So most of the time I sit down and I simply explain what is the menstruation and what is the menstrual cycle. The menstrual cycle, it is started from the first day after the period, because menstruation, then start the follicular phase when the estrogen and progesterone start to release from the granulosa cell of the ovarian tissue. Then there will be ovulation. Then after that will be the increasing of, after the ovulation, increasing the progesterone. We are going to luteal phase, progesterone and estrogen, and then menstruation will start if there is no pregnancy desired. So these change in the follicular phase or in ovulation phase or luteal phase is affect the body, is affect the type of menstruation the woman go through, and also imbalance of the hormone can, in addition to other factor, can affect, for example, the fibroid, affect the genital area, affect the possibility of vaginal infection, as you gave the question in the beginning, like changing the pH, acidity and alkalinity of the vagina, as well as developing a different problem in the health, in the life of the women. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Can I have the next slide, please? Do you hear me?
Yeah, I'm just gonna check with the team what's going on. I hope.
Yeah, because I can't put it on my. So the menstruation is a cyclic, orderly sloughing of the uterine lining in response to interaction of hormone produced by the, it starts from the brain, which is called hypothalamus, then it go to pituitary gland, and then they go to ovaries. The menstrual cycle may be divided, as I said, to follicular or proliferative phase, and then luteal phase, secretory, and the length of menstrual cycle is a number of days between the first day of menstrual bleeding of one cycle to the onset of menses of the next cycle. The median duration of menstrual cycle is 28 days, with most of the cycle length 25 to 30 days. So if someone having a period between 25 and 30 days, still normal, but the patient who experience menstrual cycles occur in interval less than 21 days are called polymenoric. It means that they have frequent period. While patients who experience prolonged menstruation cycle greater than 35 days, they call oligomenoric. It means that less period is happening. And the follicular phase, which is the beginning from the first day of men's cycle until ovulation, lower the temperature on the basal body temperature chart, and more importantly, the development of the follicles, which characterize this phase. It's called folliculogenesis. Begin during the last few days of the preceding menstrual cycle until releasing of the mature follicle at ovulation. And that is a time when the peak of estrogen is happening. The luteal phase of the cycle is relatively constant in all women, with a duration of 14 days. From the day of ovulation till the day of the period, it has to be 14 days. If there is any prolongation or shortening, it is happening in the follicular phase. So the variability of the cycle length is usually derived from varying length of follicular phase of the cycle, which can range between 10 and 16 days. And the typical volume of blood loss should be around 30 ml. So any amount greater than 80 ml is considered abnormal. How we estimate all the research and project which they wanted to estimate the amount of the blood loss is very, very difficult to do that, because we can't just squeeze the panty line or the tampon and check it. But the amount of time the women change the tampon or the sanitary towel or the clothing, and also which is fully soaked, that will indicate that women losing the blood more than 80 ml and which can extremely affect the life and also make the women anemic. And that is how we know. So we can't estimate the amount of the blood loss in each woman. We have to estimate it by asking the question, how many times, how many days? Some people, they have the period for 4 to 5 days and the other 7 to 10 days, and also waking up there in the night. So these are the things which effectively is estimating the amount of the blood loss. Or some women, they can't go to work because they can't control how they are at work, especially in the male environment. Is very difficult. You are in the meeting and standing up and the clothes coming out is not possible. So they seek in the advice from the medical advice, or they want in time leave in the time of the period. The follicular phase, which is first phase of the cycle, the serum estrogen level rise in a parallel of the growth of the follicular size and increasing. These are the cells which is in the ovary, which is called granulosa cell, which have a lot of receptors. Why I am explaining this, because eventually we have to talk also a little bit about the menopause and why we check in some hormone to indicating whether the woman in menopause. So the granulosa cell have a receptor of follicular stimulating hormone, which is called FSH. It is secreted by pituitary gland. Exclusively, there are a lot in the granulosa cell. So increasing the FSH level during the late luteal phase lead to increase the number of FSH receptor and increase the estrogen secretion by this cell. And it is important to note that increase in FSH receptor number is due to increase in the population of the cell. If you lose this cell, then the woman will head into perimenopause or menopausal symptom. So the receptor in the granulosa cell is very important for the FSH. And each cell is approximately have 1500 receptor by the secondary stage of the follicular development. And this receptor is relatively constant for the remainder of the development. And the rise of estrogen secretion appear to increase the total number of the receptor on the cell. And in the presence of the estradiol, the FSH stimulate the formation of the other hormone, which is called luteinizing hormone, and increased luteinizing hormone also secreted by the pituitary gland in this cell, and secretion of quantity of the progesterone, which is the second half of the cycle, and they prepare if the pregnancy is happen, which prepare the womb to have acceptance of the embryo, and if not, then the both hormone will be down, and then the menstruation will happen. We come into hormone imbalance. Occurs in and irregularly in the level of hormone in the body, and this hormone play essential role in regulating various bodily function. When the balance is disturbed, it can lead to health issue. For example, we have a fibroid. The fibroid, although it is mostly genetic related, but imbalance of the hormone can stimulate the fibrous and muscle tissue inside the uterine wall and can produce one part more than the other and produce the fibroid formation. The other imbalance of hormone in the body is called polycystic ovarian syndrome. It's very common. 30 to 40% of the women suffer from polycystic ovarian syndrome, although it is genetically also related, and also the woman is born with polycystic ovarian syndrome. But this disorder affects the reproductive age. It involves imbalance of estrogen, insulin, and other hormone, and leading to specific symptoms like irregular period, acne, hair growth, and infertility. And then at the end, all these problems which has happened to the woman, unfortunately, then at the end we come to menopause, which is a natural change in hormone level during aging caused menopause, but symptom which is include hot flush, sweating, mood change, and anxiety, irregular period, foggy brain, loss of concentration, forgetfulness. Also, it is started because the hormone on the top from the hypothalamus to the pituitary to the ovarian function, it disturbed, and then there is no more follicular phase, there is no more receptor is left, and then the pituitary thinking that the ovary is not functioning very well, but it is because there is no follicles or eggs in a usual term left inside. And the other condition, which is, as a previous speaker talked about, how the hormones in the body, if we deal with the hormone, then around the diabetes is very common in the later age, which is called diabetes type 2, which is affected by the hormone change in the body, by insulin change of the body, by high estrogen in the body. And those people also in the younger age, they are more liable to develop diabetes during pregnancy, which is gestational diabetes, because affect insulin sensitivity and leading to elevated blood sugar. And also the hormone in the genital organ, also it has a high link to the thyroid function. If the thyroid function hormone is not given because it is impact the metabolism, impact energy regulation, and the thyroid disorder can also affect the weight change, fatigue, hair loss, hair formation. In addition, increase also the heart disease. If someone is not aware of hyperthyroidism, I mean overfunctioning of the thyroid, can also affect the heart problem, affect the anxiety, affect the fatigue. So it is all linked to each other. The body is like a car. If you have no fuel, whole the system is not going to work. So the hormone, especially in the women as well as in the men, if the hormone imbalance in the body is there, that's which affect whole the body. The other, I just put a bullet point about the diseases we have to be aware, especially for the young age women, which is in the past is being really dismissed. As the first speaker was indicating, that when she had a heavy, painful period, everyone thought that is hereditary, because by nature, our mother, our grandmother always had a heavier or painful period, and they passed this information. This is hereditary. You will be fine. There is no problem. But fortunately, nowadays, yes, I am not encouraging too much Google search, but the young age women now, they explore and they find they comparing their symptom during the period time, or between the period, or after the period time, to what is written in the Google, and they comparing, and they come to us. In the past, I never ever seen 14 or 16-year-old girl to come to me and saying, I have pain and I tried everything what the GP recommended. I tried every single hot bottles and paracetamol and even pill, but my pain never go away. I must have endometriosis. And sometime I was in denial in the past. I was saying, you are very young to be diagnosed with endometriosis. It's not common in your age, but nowadays, when I do, because endometriosis, unless if it is a higher stage, it cannot be diagnosed by any tools, for example, ultrasound or MRI scan. So I do, the only way to diagnose it is laparoscopy. And I am surprised by the number of the young girls, which I do laparoscopy for them, and how many of them, at least 30 to 40% of them, they have endometriosis, which is very, very good. The reason why we investigating in the early age and we knowing about in the early age, it does not progress in the later age, because endometriosis, when it damages the area, the high possibility of debilitating disease is affect the bowel, affect the ureter, affect the kidney, affect the bladder, in addition to infertility, and also affecting the sexual life because of so much pain during intercourse. Most of the women, they avoid to having a partner because of the endometriosis. So nowadays, just a message to the young girls, force, if you find out nothing is working, especially the pill or any pain relief for you, and you're trying everything, even if you are 15, even if you are 16, you have to enforce and you have to push the GP, general practitioners, to refer you to the hospital. And hopefully at the end, by early age, you can have a laparoscopy and has diagnosed. Because if they told you that the ultrasound is absolutely normal, you have no problem, you have to live with this problem, that's not mean you have no endometriosis. The second problem with the hormone imbalance is the polycystic ovarian syndrome. The polycystic ovarian syndrome can be mild when the women have regular period, they have every month, but they have some acne, or they have some little hair, facial hair growth, or tummy growth of hairs. But there are other spectrum of it, which is a high growth of hairs in the face, which they go to the laser treatment or shaving or epilation. And also their period will be what, as I explained in the beginning, oligomenorrhea. Oligomenorrhea, it means they have a period every minimum every 6 weeks, and some people, some young girls, they have it every 3 months, every 6 months. So, and in addition, yes, we're telling them about the food, about style of life, about the exercise. They cannot shift the weight because they are in a wrong direction. Sometimes Weight Watcher is full of carbohydrate diet, but the women with the polycystic ovarian syndrome, as much as possible, should avoid carbohydrate, sugary diet, and ripe fruit, cakes and chocolate, because the sensitivity of insulin in their body is very, very low. So whatever you do, you can't increase the sensitivity of the insulin, but you can reduce the amount of pressurizing the pancreas by reducing the amount of sugar we eat and the amount of carbohydrate, because carbohydrate also change to sugar in the liver. So and the insulin is not coping with this. This is because of the system of the enzyme, which is, unfortunately, it's happened. It's not a disease. It is a syndrome. It's very much genetically related. A lot of family, if you dig deep, you can find out that they are the ancestors, they are suffered from the polycystic ovarian syndrome, but they didn't know the diagnosis. In addition, also affect the fertility, but by losing weight, by dieting in a special diet, which is less or no carbohydrate, no sugar, no ripe fruits, and also exercise, it will change the type of the period, it will change the body mechanism, but also it has a treatment. Sometimes we give, they call it, and nowadays we have a new thing which is called inositol alpha plus, which change the enzyme reaction in the body, in addition to exercise and dieting. And also there is a treatment which is used for diabetes most of the time, which is called metformin, increase the timing of ovulation, increase the timing of period coming more regularly, and increase the susceptibility to fertility treatment. But the women with the polycystic ovarian syndrome is not infertile. They can have children, and also the high possibility of in vitro fertilization, which is IVF, successful in the polycystic more than non-polycystic people.
Amazing. Dr. Omar, thank you so much. I'm really worried about the time that really.
Yeah, I'm just finishing. Sorry. And the next one is a uterine fibroid. We've been talking about the uterine fibroid quite a lot of time. We're talking about the symptom diagnosis and management of uterine fibroid. Yes, of course, food is very important, but sometimes you have to be aware. Sometimes we're deceiving ourselves by, oh, we put weight. I just seen a patient last week. I talked to her about it. She has a fibroid size of the baby, 30 centimeter, 12 to 15 centimeter, another one in the same woman, and she thought that she's putting weight. When you have a mass like that in your abdomen, please seek advice as quick as possible, because that is the only thing which can benefit from you is the surgery, nothing else. But there are also another treatment. In addition of the hormone imbalance is the menopause, which we also discussed before, and we talk about it. Menopause is something now where it has a bioidentical treatment. Perimenopause or menopausal symptom is not a great thing to suffer from. Don't be shy. Go to your doctor and try to push it through if you need something to be taken, but also lifestyle, food, and exercise is very important in addition. But there are people, they are not lucky because of the cancer. They cannot take any menopausal hormone or anything for the menopause, but the lifestyle is available and there are treatment to do. And also the one which have the family history of cancer, they cannot take. There is a new drug can avoid, it's not a hormone, can avoid you to have hot flush and sweating, tiredness and fatigue, and you can have advice from the doctors and also the professionals as well as the dietitian. Sorry about the delay. Thank you so much. If there is any question or any question at the end, you can put it. Thank you.
Yes, please, if you put your questions in the chat, we apologize for the time, and we're running really late behind schedule on this. But if you have any questions for Dr. Omar, please put it in the chat. The team will try and collect that, and then maybe sometime towards the end we can share that with Dr. Omar, and then she can answer them for us. But in the meantime, we just need to quickly try to make up for the time that we've lost. Our next speaker is a celebrity advocate. Her name is Zainab Balogun. She's going to be sharing her journey and her learnings as well on this journey. I don't know where the MC is, but I'm going to try and read through this.
I'm here. I was going to, you started talking, so I just let you continue.
All right, darling, go on then. You take over.
Yeah, so I'm very excited to hear from our next speaker. It's a celebrity guest, as Tonya has mentioned, Zainab Balogun, and I'm going to quickly whiz through her profile. So let's give her a warm welcome. So Zainab Balogun is a British-Nigerian actress, TV host, and executive producer at Zaba Productions. As an endo survivor, she leverages her journey to raise awareness. Her career started with the premier models management as a fashion model before transitioning into acting in BBC One's program, Material Girl. Marking her path with a pivotal moment on the set of The Dark Knight Rises. Since then, Zainab has amassed remarked credit as a lead actor in esteemed Netflix, Amazon Prime, TIFF, and BFI film selections, such as Sylvia, The Royal Hibiscus Hotel, that was an amazing movie, and Walking with Shadows. Her stellar performance earned her the Future Award Africa Prize for acting in 2018. Additionally, she has co-created and produced primetime shows for Ebony Live TV, a global entertainment network. Most recently, she became the official host of the music reality show, The Voice Nigeria. As an entrepreneur, Zainab is a co-founder of Wash and Go, Africa's first focused concept hair salon, Zainab established Zaba Productions, a multimedia production company dedicated to a purpose-first vision for content. Notable clients include L'Oreal and Dubai Tourism. Can we give a big welcome to Zainab Balogun, please?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon. Yes, we can hear you. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
How are you?
We're excited to have you with us.
Yes, I've just been soaking in all the information, and I know that we are kind of pressed for time. So would you like me to just go ahead and make a start on the story?
Yes, please, please. We would love to hear your story.
I'll give you the short version because it's a bit long, but I essentially started my period when I was 12, and I always remembered my periods lasting for about 7 days and being extremely painful. I'm talking the kind of pain that would prevent me from going to school, or if I was in school, I'd have to sit out on certain things. I would find myself not being able to work, or at times, the only kind of comfort that I would be able to have is literally by rolling on the floor or just curling into a ball. And I would often describe that pain like somebody literally taking a thorn or a knife into my abdomen and literally just turning it over and over again. And I never really, for me, this is what periods were supposed to be like. This is what womanhood was. And so I'd often go to the GP asking questions. At first, they said that I was diagnosed, they diagnosed me with dysmenorrhea, which is essentially like a constant, associated with constant painful periods. Then it was gastro issues, then it was IBS, but nothing really worked. None of the pain medication, none of the injections, none of the diagnosis seemed to make sense to me. And fast forward that for about 19 years, imagine trying to work and go into spaces and having to find ways to explain to people that you can't function today or you can't function for the next 5 days simply because of this pain that you have. I started feeling sort of ashamed and feeling like I wasn't comfortable enough in being able to be myself. I would essentially just be functional for about a week and a month because my pain would start before the period, during the period, and after the period. And 19 years that went on, my periods were regularly, were essentially regular up until early summer 2020, when I then had about 4 periods in the space of about 2 months, which was a red flag for me. That's when I realized something here that didn't quite make sense because it never happened before. And so I started asking questions. At this time, I was actually living in Nigeria and looking out for a gynecologist that I could speak to. And even that journey of finding the right gynecologist who would be sensitive enough to my plight, who would be understanding enough, that was very difficult because I asked a bunch of friends trying to find out, who do you guys go to? And I found that the culture was that we don't go places unless there's like an actual big. And eventually I found a great doctor and she sat me down and she was like, look, we're going to go through a bunch of different things. We'll start off with some scans, and these are the conditions that we're going to look out for. We're going to look out for hormone issues, fibroids, PCOS, anomiosis. And the last thing on the list was endometriosis, which I'd heard maybe loosely once before, but didn't know much about it. And I went in for a transvaginal ultrasound scan, and which is essentially where they go inside and they take a look at things. And the radiologist has said that he thinks that he can see about 2 cysts. So a cyst on each of my ovaries, with one of them being a torsion cyst, meaning it was twisted and it was full of something that we weren't quite sure what it was. So they said, hey, you need to go in and have emergency surgery. We have to get this torsion cyst sorted out. And a month later, I was in surgery, surgery for a laparoscopic procedure that lasted for a few hours. And once I woke up, I literally remember looking into my gown, expecting to literally see just about maybe 2 patches, but then there were 3, 2 on my ovaries and 1 right by my belly button. And the surgeon said to me that they discovered that I had stage 3 endometriosis, and essentially they went in and started zapping all the endo lesions that they had found, not only within my pelvic area, but they had found it on the kidney, they'd found it on the intestines. And this is the explanation for the pain that I'd had for about 19 years. And in that moment, I remember just crying and asking myself, what on earth did I do to get endometriosis? And there's nothing you do, right? It's not about whether or not your mother had it or the kind of foods you're eating. And from that moment, I realized that my life was going to change, because the lesions had sort of spread that far. They essentially had to put an implant in me called the Zoladex implant while I was under. And how endometriosis works is that it is a reproductive gynecological condition that whereby a lining that resembles the uterus starts to grow as adhesions in different parts of the body. And there are about 5 stages of endometriosis. So the more these adhesions kind of spread throughout the body, the more it increases and the more stages you get. And so essentially, endometriosis is not just a condition that affects the reproductive area. It is a condition that affects the whole body, because these adhesions can grow as far up as the lungs or the brain. And it is a debilitating condition that affects 1 in 10 women from their reproductive age. And, I started my period at 12. I essentially could have had endometriosis at the age of 12, but nobody was there to give me the right answers. And it has the risk of affecting fertility, affecting women emotionally, mentally, economically, and comes with a whole load of pain. And so I started treatment. I had to go on Zoladex for another additional year. And what Zoladex is, it's an estrogen blocker. So what it does is it stops your body from producing estrogen, because the assumption is that the lesions, the endo lesions, feed off of the dominance of estrogen in your body. And when that happens, is that your body goes into an immediate state of menopause. So that was me for about a year and a half, experiencing menopause and everything that came with it. The mental, the anxiety, the depression, the hot flashes, the hair loss, the skin irritations. And again, not being able to explain to, say, the person at work to say, hey, I can't be on this set today because of XYZ. And so I started sharing my story online and got inundated with hundreds and hundreds of messages from women saying, hey, this pain sounds familiar. Or my teenager is having similar issues. How can I support? And in the African context of us not being great sharers when it comes to very important issues such as this, it was a taboo. I had relatives who were like, we don't talk about these things publicly. But for me, it was important to share it because I didn't want another woman I didn't want it to take another 19 years for another person. It takes on average 7 to 10 years to diagnose endometriosis, because you have to advocate for yourself on an insane level. Literally have to beg the GP to send you for a scan. And so that's where that came from, and the desire to continue to spread the message. I am now actually in the process of developing a short film that sheds light on endometriosis called Blood. And we're currently raising funds for that, and just trying to get the word out there as much as we can. So that's the short story.
Thank you so much, Zainab. That was really, really helpful and informative. I don't know anyone in this meeting, some of the things that I've learned today, honestly. And one thing that Zainab said that I must highlight again and again is, yes, we come from a culture where it is almost like a taboo to talk about these things. We need to talk about it. We need to encourage this conversation. The younger generation should not have to suffer what we have had to go through. We should pass that knowledge and information. And thank you so much for sharing your stories today. I mean, I don't know if there's any questions yet in the chat for Zainab, if we have any questions that we wanted to Zainab to answer. But in the meantime, because of the time as well, we're so sorry about this. We'll probably just jump on to, we'll give you like a minute and see if anyone's put anything in the chat for Zainab to answer.
Can I add something really quickly?
Go on then.
In terms of healing, I noticed one of the earlier speakers talk about how the importance of lifestyle when it comes to healing, not just medicine. And this is something that I'd also like to stress on, because on my healing journey, I went on a herbal and natural vegan plant program and found great benefits with just resetting the body without a bunch of hard drugs. So I talk about that a lot on my profile and share resources for natural living herbalists and people who just help you get back to how to heal yourself from the fruits and herbs of the ground.
Amazing.
Amazing. Thank you for that. And I met one of those people through you as well, when you were sharing your testimonial online, and it's amazing the work that the gentleman is doing, around helping people heal and reset, just using food as medicine. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you. I can't see any questions for Zainab in the chat, so we are going to move on to the next item. Thank you so much, Zainab, for coming and sharing your story and just being brave and just and reaching out to more women who have similar stories. Thank you so much. So we are now going to move on to our quiz. We have another quiz.
And quickly, we're going to skip the quiz so that Michelle can come in. But quickly, we're going to put Zainab's handle in the chat Please follow Zainab, and see the amazing work she's doing around feminine health issues as well. Thank you very much. Thank you, Zainab, for your time. We do appreciate you.
Yes, thank you, Zainab. So unfortunately, we're going to have to skip the quiz.
We'll come back to it later, much later, but we'll just need to within the time. Yeah.
That's fine. I want to win a prize as well. So next we have Michelle Wall. Michelle Wall, originally aspiring to be an accountant and working in retail on workforce optimization, Michelle moved to a human resources career where she felt unfulfilled and uninspired by the work environment for young working mothers. She has now worked in the profession for nearly 30 years and has seen it evolve from personnel to human resources and now people and sustainability. Michelle has worked across many sections, including retail, telecom, public sectors, and lately in tech. In the last 12 years, the tech businesses have been international, global organizations and private equity investors. She's been a keen advocate of conservation, environment, and sustainability. Michelle is also a board trustee for Essex Wildlife Trust, one of the largest conservation trusts in the UK. Michelle tries to live a healthy life and believes that a healthy attitude towards continual personal development leads to a fulfilling, rewarding, and sustainable career. She has 2 children and currently 3 grandchildren. And when she isn't at the gym or running around after the family in her spare time, she likes to challenge herself. So can we give a big welcome to Michelle Wall?
Thank you. I'm going to share some slides, so hopefully that's going to work. We don't know what the technology is like. While we work on that, the challenge behind me on the wall is when I did a biplane. If you can see it, I'm actually standing on top of the plane, so that was quite a challenge. Right, I'm just going to share my slides. Let's hope I was sharing my slides. Can you see just a slide, not lots of writing?
Yes.
Brilliant. And that sounds like it's working. So thank you. When Toyin asked me to come today, she said, I want you to inspire and encourage young people. Talk to them about your story and how it shaped you and how it'll shape the corporate world. Excuse me. We've heard from lots of speakers today, and obviously their stories have been around feminine health and so on. I'm actually going to look at it now from a workplace perspective. We all know, because we've all had our various journeys, that our feminine health actually affects so many things. It affects our relationships, it affects our ability to function on occasions, and that can actually have an effect in the workplace. It can make us less confident and mean that actually we're on the back foot when we do arrive in the workplace. And it can affect our long-term careers and how we feel about ourselves. So I'm going to talk to you about my story. It's a little bit unconventional. Just to start, though, I'm going to tell you, I've worked, although 30 years in HR, I've actually worked for nearly 40 years. I'm blessed. I have 2 children and 3 grandchildren. I'm hopeful that I'm going to have some more. Do love a child or 2, a baby around. I've got a lovely home. I do things that I enjoy. I work in my community. I've had a great career and I still enjoy my job. But let me tell you, ladies, my job is still very lonely. I'm one woman on a board of 15 men, and there's a theme that will come out of my story as well. But when I started to think about what I could say to you all today, I kept coming back to the view that in the corporate world, and in fact in our society, actually we haven't really got it right for women, and we especially don't have it right for women and girls whose confidence is already low because of their mental health or their physical health, or sometimes both. So now my slide isn't working, which isn't helpful, is it? There we are. Sometimes it's not easy being a young woman in an old man's world. And I think there's a few knots around the head. But thankfully, times are changing. It's slow. Everything we do, and in this webinar we've spoken about, takes time. But I think that this webinar is actually showing that there are a lot of women out there that are the potential for the senior women on the board of the future. And that excites me. So before I go on, I'm going to start my story. I grew up in Essex in England. It's a county near to London. My dad was a police officer. My mum stayed at home. I had 2 siblings. I was doing well at school. I could tell that I had ambition. I was fit. I was healthy. My dad actually thought that I would follow in his footsteps, and he told everyone I was going to be a great police officer. I actually wanted to be a vet or work in conservation. My dad never believed me, and I don't really think he listened, but I knew what I had to do. I had to finish my exams, do advanced work, advanced level exams, go on to university, study hard, work hard, and my ambition would be achieved. And then I met the love of my life, who's my husband today. I'm still with him. It's been a long time. I met him at school and he was friendly with the boy next door and so on. So before long, we become an item. And then suddenly, my world changed. I became pregnant at 15. My parents were completely shocked. They were so disappointed. My future was shattered. What was I going to do? Everything I said I was going to do was not going to happen. I started to become very sad, very lonely, very isolated. These are all the emotions that actually, when you've got feminine health issues, are the same. We had the same journey with different lenses, perhaps. But after the shock of my pregnancy wore off for my mum and dad, they were very supportive. I was really very well blessed. My mum said she'd help with the childcare. My dad said, you're a parent, you need to grow up. So my daughter, although pregnant at 15, she was born, I was 16. I was doing my exams. Michelle, finish your exams, that level of exam, then get out to work, because you've got to support yourself and your daughter financially. My dad wasn't going to do it. He couldn't afford to do it. My friends moved away. So I went to college, university, etc. They weren't interested in someone with a baby. So again, I was still quite lonely. And I went to work in a bank. I was good at maths. So I thought it was, you know, the natural thing to do. I was there for a couple of years and I was on the lowest rung of the business. Now, I'd grown up knowing you had to be honest about your situation and share and talk openly. So I told them that I had a baby. But I was on the lowest rung and I wasn't moving. And I saw people coming in and moving quickly. Most of those were male colleagues. I saw them moving. So I was quite bold. I asked my boss, can I get some idea about how I can progress my career? His response to me is, you're an unmarried mother. You've got insufficient learning, no qualifications. We can't rely on you because you've got this child that's relying on you. And actually, when or if you marry, you're likely to go off and have another baby. So that was really good mentoring. It was a long time ago, but that was what it was like in the workplace. So I was bold. I asked to receive training. I'd grown up knowing training and learning was going to help me. My colleagues were getting courses. They were being funded. Some of those courses were expensive. I asked the same boss, can you put me on this learning? His response was, I'm sorry, we can't rely on you having a long-term career here because you're unmarried, etc., etc. You have a small child. You're not going to be in every day. At this point, I'd never been sick, and my child had never been sick enough to make me stay at home. Okay, so I was unqualified. I was in a job that I hated. I didn't like my boss. He didn't care. I was lonely. But I picked myself up because I had a burning platform. I had a child that needed supporting. I had the love of my life still there. We was capable of doing something between us we could achieve. So I went to night school. And when I went to night school, I started to think that the only person losing sleep over this was me. Nobody else was caring. The bills were getting paid. My child had loving care and support. My husband was starting his career. We weren't yet married, but we were very much a unit. And my narrative had to change. I changed it. It's grown and it's matured over the years, but the context is still the same. It's my narrative. It's what I tell people, and it's what actually projects into the world. So I went to night school. And I changed my job in the end. I found a company that was more in keeping with what I wanted to do, but it was still a male-orientated environment, and they were still quite elderly compared to me. And I was scared to tell them about my daughter. So I was actually living a lie in the workplace because I thought they would hold me back if they knew about her. Then I met a teacher that I'd known at school, and I liked her. And she taught me geography and sociology at school, but she said to me, she always thought that I would do well. But she said that I wasn't the person that she remembered. When I was talking to her, I was still quite reticent. I was withholding things. I was still scared. I was a victim of what's going on around me. And she said to me, we have to work to pay for our lifestyle and pay for our lives, but we need to spend time in work for so long, every day, long days. We need to find a place that understood us, that gave us confidence and maybe sparkle. And then I needed to really think about, although I had this great attitude and narrative that I was talking to other people, the people that really knew me knew that it wasn't really me. So I started to think about another company. And this is back in the day, there wasn't an internet, okay, to go and research. And again, you'll understand why I say that. You really need to research. But I did the best I could. The companies I knew were the ones on the high street, the names we know. I looked at them. I thought there's brands like Sainsbury's and Tesco's and so on. I looked at those. I researched them. They had lots of women there. They had diversity. They had diversity in age. They had students working part-time. They had such a range of people. I thought, these companies, they're going to work for me. So a job came up in Sainsbury's, and that was the workforce modernisation piece. And I did lots of projects and really enjoyed it. But effectively, I was introducing technology now into Sainsbury's. Now, something that many of the younger people on the screen will take for granted now is the self-scanning tills in the supermarkets. I was actually on the project that was trying to introduce them into Sainsbury's many, many years ago. It was cutting edge technology at the time, and I really enjoyed it. But while I was there, I started to meet people from the personnel team because I needed to understand people's skills in order to put in these technologies. And that's when I decided, I like that, I'm going to do that. So this time around, I thought, well, if this is the career that I want, I need to get myself qualified. I'm back in the days when Dad told me to work hard, or to achieve, you've got to work hard, you've got to gain your qualifications, you've got to go forwards as you mean to go on. Sainsbury's were brilliant. They let me onto a professional career. They paid my tuition. They gave me time to study. They're flexible. They were family friendly and so on. And so I went and qualified and got my degree in human resource management. I actually stayed at Sainsbury's for 15 years. It was such a good company. One of the last roles I did there was actually in the warehouse. I worked in the distribution area. So we had a big building with 700 staff, and there was only 30 women in there. The environment was masculine. It was what we'd call blue collar working. It was industrial. It was smelly. It was dirty. It was vibrant in one sense, but we had lots of unions. And I would have to negotiate with unions on a day-to-day basis. It was very adversarial. I knew I could stand up for myself. I knew my work, but it was very adversarial. The senior management were all men. There's a theme. But they were lovely. They would protect me in front of the unions. They didn't want me to be upset in this environment. But as a result, excuse me, it felt somewhat like they didn't take me as seriously as the other colleagues. So I actually got to a point and felt that actually were my attitudes changing? Was I becoming more aggressive? And did I really like myself in that context? If you're battering against the institution every day, you actually do become quite aggressive yourself. So I moved from the retail to the public sector. In fact, I joined Essex Police, which some might say is still quite a masculine environment. It was obviously public sector, but it was masculine, it was dominant, but it was doing something for society. It was good in that sense. I was married by now. I was in my 30s. I had another child, my young son, who's 6'7" and enormous, still the baby. But the environment I was in was very dominant and very aggressive. The board that I was working with, I had to call everyone chief or Mr. or sir. Note there wasn't too many madams or ma'ams or misses. Then there came this burning platform. My husband got cancer. And it was a male cancer, prostate cancer, hormonal, etc., etc. And he himself, part of his, in fact, his treatment was based on hormone treatment. And he went through the equivalent of a male menopause as such at the same time. My poor kids said there was 2 menopausal people in the house, and that it didn't like life for a while. But it meant I had to change my job. My husband was too ill to carry on working, and I felt that I needed to move on and get some more money. So what the police force did teach me was how to investigate. I seriously put in the effort. I wanted, where was I going to be happy? Where was the environment that I wanted to be in? What did I want to do in the future? Yes, I needed more money, but I wasn't going to take a job just because it was more money. I'd done that before, and that wasn't happy. It wasn't a happy place. So I started working on what did I enjoy? My strategy. I loved doing direction. I loved change management. I felt the private sector would be able to pay me more, but also give me the opportunity and the platform to elevate to a senior job. I have been ambitious throughout my life. I will not apologize for that. So I joined the tech industry, fast-paced, change every week. I actually work with artificial intelligence, which it would blow your mind if you realised how quickly that is learning. It is artificial intelligence, however, learns from what's going into it. So if there's lots of male-dominant views going into it, the artificial intelligence itself can be inherently male. So we need more women putting stuff into artificial intelligence so that on their basis, we get the feminine side. In my time in tech, I've sat in meetings and a peer said to me, let the token female speak. I was actually lost for words as part of that. But then, as I said earlier, I'm one female with 15 men. As I've grown older, I'm well again. I'm post-menopause now, but I have migraines, I have stress, I have a lack of confidence. I often say I'm too old to be doing this. But what age has taught me is actually now I know that the reason why up here is not doing what I want it to do, because it is all about the hormones. I know it's the menopause. It's not something I can change. Yes, I can look at the way my diet is, my exercise, my lifestyle, etc. But it's something that is a fact of life for many, many women, obviously. The fact is my hormones are not going to define me. And in the workplace, that's what we need to encourage. I like to say that I'm resilient and I am bold and I am fearless and I tackle bad behaviour in the workplace properly. I've had too many years of being on the back foot, and so now I celebrate that my hormones and all the negativity actually have helped me be resilient and move things on. So why am I telling you this, and why can you benefit from it? Well, I think if you were to read my story when you have reflected, there's some key points which I believe will help you in your journey in the career, in your career and in the workplace. I think when you're growing or preparing for your careers, it's daunting. There are some simple things that I believe that you can navigate. And actually, if you think about this in the things we've been talking about today, these headings probably apply in many cases. Prepare yourself. Your positive attitude always comes across. If I'm interviewing in the workplace, I like to see positivity, and I don't mean the loudest and the most aggressive in the room. I want to hear somebody that has prepared and rehearsed their elevator pitch. Then I can see that they are committed, they're prepared, and that shines through. Research. When someone comes to me and they want to know, they want to join my team or promote themselves, I want to hear that they've actually done their research. If they know stuff about the business, our customers, our proposition, etc., and our services, I know they've taken time out to research it. That tells me that they're interested, they are invested in what they want to do, and that makes me switch on the lights. A person may come and join me that has no skills in the area, but if they've got the attitude and the right means and method to actually go forwards, then I'd rather go with them and build that relationship. In addition to that, when people research, and now the internet's there, it's much easier to do. all conversations that I have, they're brilliant when they're two-way. We love to have conversations back and forth. People that come to me that are being interviewed by me, if they've researched me and they start to hear about, and they start to talk to me about things that I like, my social footprint tells you what that is. And that tells me that they're interested in me and I like to talk to them. That puts them ahead of the game of anyone else. Knowing your strengths, but also know your weaknesses. Despite the negative moments that I've said in my story, I've seen some fantastic leaders in my career. And they actually have been fantastic because they know what they're good at and they bring people in that plug their gaps. But they also celebrate those individuals as part of the team to say that, you know, they have contributed and so on. They thank others. They're very authentic in that. They have compassion. For those that are interested and want to pick up some detail, Harvard Business Reviews often talk about the traits of leadership. And most of those traits are actually quite aligned to female leaders. I'm very quickly going to say this as well. I said earlier, times are changing. In the early 2000s, countries that were members of the United Nations started to talk about the 17 social development goals. It's not a test. We're not going to put it in the quiz. But on the left-hand side, you can see these goals, if your eyes are good enough. Environment, social and governance. They are development goals that were determined by the UN to basically bring peace and prosperity, reduce inequalities, make sure people enjoy health, justice and prosperity, and have a sustainable career, a sustainable environment, a sustainable earth. The public sector and businesses are all out there. They're all charged with doing this. They have goals to sustain the planet under these ESG principles. The ones you see on the right-hand side, these are principles that are very clearly baked into practically every HR strategy that I have ever come across and more that are coming into the fore now. The reason why I've put it up is the importance of these goals actually from your perspective as females in the workplace. These goals actually support you and businesses therefore want you. I said tech, actually, we're all moving towards AI. We need more females in tech to help us with that. We need to make our technology feminine. We need to make our environments feminine and equitable. But if you look at these goals, ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all ages. Actually, you guys are doing that right now. Achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. The United Nations have that as one of these goals. Reduce inequality within and among countries and promote sustained, inclusive economic growth, full and productive employment, decent work for all. All of those things actually would form the foundation, and particularly for us as females, help us in business. Finally, and I know I'm just trying to be very, very quick, I have shared with you my work life and my journey. So I want to share you some of those lessons. When you are going through life, don't let other people's prejudices change you. You can't change theirs. If you use your energy to forget people's prejudices and just work on focusing on what you can change for yourself, to actually bring your great self to the workplace, do the research, make sure that you're prepared, make sure that you continuously learn, then you bring that to the workplace. You will be head and shoulders above others. What you need to do is turn a negative upside down. If I'd have believed that first manager that said to me, you really don't have much of a career potential because you're a single mum, how shocking is that? I wouldn't have got off that low rung. I wouldn't have gone and studied and carried on. A burning platform may make you act, but it might also make you hasty. My burning platform was I needed jobs to get money to sustain my family. Without the research, when I looked at my later jobs, I wouldn't have found the careers choices that I found. It's not just about the burning platform, so don't be hasty, do your research. Find advice and mentoring from someone you trust. My teacher that caught me in the high street and told me, buck your ideas up, Michelle. I'm still in touch with them. They're you know, now the relationship is very different. But that was the person that really got me out there. The one thing I would say is my dad and my mum, they were brilliant. They were wonderful. They were protective. They were supportive. But they also had their own ambitions that they pasted on top of me, and that's what they wanted for me. They weren't the ambitions that I had. So if you're looking for advice and mentoring, use someone you trust, and it may not be your parent. I'm not saying don't listen to your parents, but I am saying find somebody that's got the ideas that are right for you. Continuous learning will always project you forwards. I still learn today. I capture information, I learn it all the time. And don't forget, the only one losing sleep about this is you. If you want to be successful, you need to sleep. I think some of the health lessons that we had earlier were right. I hope that today's event has inspired you all. I genuinely feel that you are, how you're perceived in the workplace with a positive attitude will take you miles. I know we've all got our things to carry around and our health and so on, but actually in the workplace, you want to show how prepared you are to take it all forwards. And finally, in the words of Taylor Swift, because I heard her new song yesterday, fake it until you make it. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you, Michelle. That was awesome. Thank you for sharing your story. If you have any questions for Michelle, please put it in the chat, and at the end we will go over all the questions, if that's okay. So we're going to move on to our final speaker.
Quickly before we move on, I just wanted to say thank you very much to Michelle. Thank you so much, honestly, for sharing your story. And I hope people today listening, young people, you are inspired, and honestly, and I take away, prepare. Find the right support, find the mentorship, that person who you can trust to drive to help you get to be the fullest of who you can be. You know, do your research, know your strengths, know your weaknesses. Thank you for sharing your story, Michelle. That's really inspiring, you know, and keep doing what you're doing, you know, in the corporate world and making women more inclusive and just helping to guide young girls, you know, to be able to participate, you know, on equal grounds. Thank you. So we're just going to see if there's any questions for Michelle, and then if there's nothing in the chat, let's move on then to the next speaker, and then we can do some of the more prizes kind of things after the fourth speaker.
Okay, thank you. So our final speaker for today is Bola Adesina, who has over 20 years experience in both financial services and public sectors, working in tech and HR across investment banking, the civil service, and investment management. She is passionate about how tech enables business as well as diversity and inclusion, well-being, and the future of hybrid working. Bola pays it forward for the next generation through her mentoring platform, eMentorMe, which has helped schools secure work experience places and graduates secure apprenticeships and jobs within the city. She volunteers as an advisor to the boards of non-profit organizations, supporting them with governance and strategy. she's married with 2 children, Bonita and Shania, who are age 18 and 14, and she enjoys playing table tennis, cycling, and socializing in her spare time. Can we give a warm welcome to Bola Adesina, please? You are welcome.
Thank you, Olaide. Thank you very much. It's good to be here, and I hope you've heard valuable insights throughout the sessions, throughout the earlier sessions. Thanks for the intro. I appreciate it. So why am I here? I'm here today to continue from where Michelle left off, to almost like guide young women through the world of work and the expectations and how to navigate our workplaces. So very briefly, I spent 14 years in my last company in about 4 to 5 different roles, through internal mobility, through secondments, which were actually enabled by mentors and sponsors within the business. So the importance of that, from what Michelle spoke about earlier, is one of those things where you actually get exposed to opportunities within the company and actually can get to pivot and move and progress quicker within the firm. So yeah, today I'm going to be sharing a bit about me and a bit about some advice, some tips, hints in how to actually, if you are interested in getting into financial services, but not just financial services, it cuts across industries as well. Some of the skills that you need to develop, both technical and soft skills, and hopefully take any questions at the end. So do you want to put these slides up?
Yeah, please bear with us. We're trying to do that.
It's okay. I can just start if you can't. Do you want me to? I can just freestyle, so to speak. So are people able to indicate in the chat how many of the women, I suppose it's just women on the call, or are they guys as well? But how many people are actually interested in financial services or investment management or finance in general? Are people able to indicate? Okay. Okay. Brilliant. Okay, so it looks like at least a few of you are interested. Okay, so let me start while we're waiting for the slides to be loaded. So yeah, I'll share a bit about me. Okay, something is coming up on this screen now. Okay, if you go to the next slide, I think. Yeah, so that's just a bit about me and the stuff that I've done within the companies that I've worked for. And essentially, to be honest, within the workplaces, I look at, because I look at the whole supply chain. I look at from you young people are looking to get into industries like financial services or the city or investment management. So we have to think about all the way from how we actually attract you, what the companies need to do to actually be attractive for you to join, and for you, you'll be looking at the culture, because that's what a lot of people would message me about on LinkedIn to say, I'm looking to join this company. What do you think the culture is like? Are you able to spare 15 minutes to talk with me about this role that you have? So it's looking at talent acquisition, but also once people are within the company, how do we develop them? How do we grow them? How do we get the best out of them, get them to their full potential for progression and ultimately retention? So what I do within organizations is actually try and help cultivate an environment that is conducive enough and for people, especially ethnic minorities, to want to stay within those companies and progress. Next slide, please. Yeah, so a bit about me. So I was born here in London, and my parents went back, I think, when I was 5 or 6 to Lagos, to live in Lagos in Nigeria. And so I did my schooling there. And then I left them when I was 18 to come back to the UK to, complete my education. When I came to the UK, and this is the importance of mentorship. And obviously, I didn't know anything about mentorship. They're 2 different countries, 2 different environments, different cultures, and so on and so forth. So I just did whatever. I just fell into technology because my brother had seen in one of the papers, I think it was Evening Standards, a job advert for a software engineer, and it was 70K at the time. And this was in the 90s. And I was like, 70K, yeah, I'll do that. I'll study that. And that was it, really. And I applied to Newham College. At the time I was working, doing kind of like odd jobs. So I knew it had to be part-time. So it was tough for me. It was tough for me because I left home. I was on my own. Even though my brother was here, he was supporting, but it wasn't as much. So I was independent from like the age of 18, 19, to be honest. But one thing I remembered was I was very focused on what I was trying to do, on my goals. So my goal was to finish college and to go to uni, because I thought that was the normal progression path. And when I went to uni, because I was really focused, I did really well. That one of the lecturers actually told me, just go and do your master's. You don't actually have to do an undergrad. But I was like, no, but that's not the way it is. You go to college and you go to uni. And then when I went to uni, they saw my results and you're like, actually, we can't start you from year 1. Just do 2 years. So I actually started from the second year and then finished my degree in computer science. And these were the days where there was no Google, no Facebook, no, we had something called Ask Jeeves, for those old enough to remember that. And it's not like the Google search engine. So I think you young, I don't know, the Gen Z, the Gen Ys nowadays, you've really been spoiled with technology, and just you have everything at your fingertips to actually get to where you need to be. So there's no excuse, really. Yeah, I love classic cars. I'm useless at applying makeup. I just there's just too many steps to it, really. So I'd appreciate any hints and tips or YouTube videos that you can suggest. But really we're all individuals. We're all different. Some of you, your strength will be very detail oriented, like Michelle said. So that's your strength. You play to your strength. For some of us, we're visual. I'm a visual person. I want to see diagrams. I want to see what things look like and then be able to join the dots from what I see. And having a true passion for the next generation in empowering women, especially women from all women, in terms of gender diversity, in terms of representation, because it's important. When we think about it, 50% of the population, of the UK population, are women. So really, our workplaces should reflect those figures, but it doesn't. right? And when you now talk about specialisms like tech, it's even worse because there are not enough women, there are not enough role models. Actually, we're rare breeds, people my age that are still in tech. And it's really important to be able to, empower the next generation and pass on the insights, the valuable insights, the hints, the tips for them to be able to be successful in your different endeavors. So 20 plus years experience, 16 years in the city in investment banking, investment management as well, but all the while within the tech departments. So those are the stuff that I studied, that I've gone through. So after I studied computer science, years later, I actually studied my MBA at Warwick because I wanted a broader view of the way the world works, a broader view of how investment management works, the industry works, and to be able to support small businesses and medium businesses and recharge economic growth, and be able, that would be my input into the economy. That would be my legacy. So as well as actually supporting young people in getting opportunities into these work places, I'm actually very invested in supporting small businesses and getting them to a place where the governance structure is solid enough for them to actually succeed. So my experience working in the city, I work with intelligent people, the brightest minds work in the city because it's finance, right? Most of it is finance. But the one thing I can say to you all on the call is don't be deterred by the industry. Don't think you have to have a finance degree or economics degree or a maths degree. They're actually looking at cognitive diversity now, and cognitive diversity is actually almost like having difference, the way people think, the way people's thinking are influenced by where they grew up, by culture, by the environment, and so on and so forth. So you have people who study music, for instance, working in the city. You have people studying English, history, and so on and so forth. Because we've got research department, we've got sales department, we've got distribution, we've got client relationship, which is really good for people who study different languages and so on and so forth. There's so many opportunities within the industry and other industries, of course. And it's an industry where you earn a decent living. And yeah, so for me, being in technology, I've always been the only one in the teams that I've worked in. And that's because I've worked in very niche technologies. So, but it hasn't been a difference for me. And I think that's helped me a lot throughout my career because I've been able to assimilate different cultures that are different to the Black culture. So the Asian culture, the English culture, the Greek culture, Scottish culture, because I've always been with colleagues, and then down the line, we become very good friends. I've been to theirs, they've been to mine. So it's been open-minded as well. Tony, do you want to say something? All right. It's been open-minded as well, and actually doing your best to integrate yourself, doing your best to insert yourself into spaces that you're probably uncomfortable into being. And I always tell my mentees, especially those who are undergrads or in college or uni, that yes, you can join your ACS, right? Your African and Caribbean Society, if you're from ethnic, if you're Black, or the Asian networks, but also look at other networks that you can join so that whilst you're at uni, you're getting integrated already. You're getting used to being amongst people that are different from you culturally, right? So that when you get into the organization, it's not a shock to your system because you're used to it from uni. is very important, and that will help you with the transition from uni into the corporate world. So what skills did I need for my job? Problem solving. I'm a problem solver. There's a problem. You look at what the problem is, you diagnose it, and then you fix it. Critical thinking as well, and the ability to think on my feet. So I used to look after critical systems. And those critical systems, they have to work 24/7. So when anytime within those 24 hours that they go down, if it's during the day, I would have to fix it. I'll get it. If it's during the night, whether it's 2 a.m., 3 a.m., I'll get a call to fix the system, because they're very critical systems in terms of the data that they bring into the organization, or the data that they process, or the data that they push out and into other organizations or the industry. So some of these skills are very important. But one very important one is your communication skills. How do you communicate? How do people perceive you? How do people see you? How do you, and actually extend that to how do you show up? How do you dress? There's a way that you dress at uni. There's a way that you dress when you're going out on a night out. And there's a way that you dress when you're within the corporate world. And it's very important, especially for women. Do you look after yourself? Do you go to the ladies 2 or 3 times a day just to freshen up? And so on and so forth. A lot of this, I wasn't told when I entered the corporate world. I didn't know. I just picked up signs that other people were doing it. Like after lunch, the ladies are packed because everyone is freshening up. Everyone is like reapplying their makeup, the perfume, and so on and so forth. And hygiene is very good. Maintaining very good hygiene is very good, because we don't want people to be put off by poor hygiene, by the way we show up, by the way we dress, by the way we speak, by the way we put our points across. So all of these things are very important within the workplace. So what are those steps that you think you need to take right now? I know some of you on the call will probably be already taking these steps and way ahead of others, but it's not too late. So number one, I would say study the right subjects. By the right subjects, I mean play to your strengths. Think about what you're really good at. So sometimes when I'm speaking to someone, when I'm speaking to a mentee, I'm not actually asking them, to be honest, what subject or what course they're studying. I actually want to know what is their strength. What are you good at? What if there are no boundaries, if there are no limitations, no constraints, what would you actually want to do? And then tie that back to what it means within the corporate world. And then look for a role that fits that. And how do you do that? You wouldn't know, right? You wouldn't be able to link it back to the corporate world because you're not within the corporate world. So your world is academical at the moment, because that's where you are, right? But the way you do that is a lot of organizations within the industry have something called Insight Days. A lot of companies have Insight Days. And in the company that I worked for, the way that worked, we have a day, we invite maybe undergrads from universities or sixth formers or school children. And what we do is we get speakers sharing their speaker profile, like I've done now, but from across different functions within the business. So distribution, marketing, and so on and so forth, investments, sales, actuary, and people will talk about what they do, their journey, and what they find important, or the important skills or the right skills to have. So it gives you an indication of what is available within the corporate world, or at least some of the opportunities that are available. And then you can then link that back to what you want to study at uni, or whether that's the right industry for you or not, and so on and so forth. I know Michelle spoke earlier about ESG. I'm actually one of the delegates for UN Women this year. because I do a lot in terms of the gender space and for women. And I think for me, as women as well, looking at within the organizations or within organizations, what is the organization actually doing to actually not just attract women, but to actually retain women? Because at some point you have to think of the different stages of a career. So there's when you start your career, and then there's where you maybe decide, you get married and or you decide that you want to have children or adopt children. What does that mean in terms of parental leave, in terms of coming back to work, in terms of how much time you can get off, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot, especially as women, that we need to think about down the line and prepare for. And then you have to decide whether you want to go to university or go through an apprenticeship. There's so many apprenticeships now. In my days, the only apprenticeships are in plumbing, in building work, and so on and so forth. But now you have apprenticeships in actuarial science, you have in investments, you have in marketing, you have different type of apprenticeships that you can actually apply for. And how do you do that? LinkedIn is the game. You have to have a profile on LinkedIn. If you don't have it, if there's one takeaway today, please set up your profile on LinkedIn. We can help. Toyin, you can let me know if anyone needs any help, and you can point them in my direction. I can do a session where they can set up their LinkedIn and I can review and so on and so forth.
So just sorry to interrupt. Just to piggyback on what Bola just said, we have some quiz. We have one more quiz, an additional mentorship quiz that we're going to do, and we're going to handpick people who Bola can actually help with doing those kind of things. So stay back and make sure that you participate so you can get mentorship and help. Sorry about that, Bola.
It's okay. I'll be happy to do that. And ultimately focus on your goals. You will have distractions. Social media is a distraction, right? There's so many things going on. There's so much polarization. There's so much, but find time to actually focus. This is where I want to get to in the next 2 years. I want to get my grades. I want to get, into uni or apprenticeship. What does that mean? And so on and so forth. Some apprenticeships offer like £24,000 from start. So the way apprenticeships work, in case you're not aware, is you're working maybe 3 days a week on the job, and 2 days you're actually studying for some qualification in a college. And some companies actually do universities as well. And it's a great way of actually earning money from day one, rather than going to uni for 3 years and then going to earn money. There's no right or wrong. It depends on people's situations. I know a lot of people from disadvantaged backgrounds, low socioeconomic background would tend to go for apprenticeships because they need the money. Maybe they need to support the home, their families, and so on and so forth. So a lot of companies are invested in it and actually support those young people through their journeys. Next slide, please. And as part of that, I've just seen something on the previous slide. It's okay, stay on this slide. It's networking. So finding people that you can network with, but you can start to do that once you've set up a LinkedIn profile and start to connect with people. And then when you come to events like this, you can see people's names, and I'm hoping, hopefully people can see people's names and connect with people as well. So to wrap up, here are some of the initiatives that I'm aware of within the investment management company industry. So if you click on, or if you hover on the underlined blue lines, you actually see the URL that you can go to, and they're very good ways. The skills workshop is one of the best because it's actually good for people who are still in school, all the way to university, all the way to undergrads. And what they've done is a lot of companies within the investment management companies, I think the last time I checked, about 700 of them have signed up to this. So they would do like a session each week each day, I think. And I think it's usually around, I think it starts in June. So if you can register now on their website, it's a great it's a great resource to have. You can learn about CVs, you can learn about the industry, you can gain insights, you can see direction needed to pursue a career in the investment management industry. And girls are investors, specifically focus on girls and basically helping girls, empowering them to actually gain internships in organizations within the investment management space. And you've got Investment 2020. They've been going on for a number of years, and they actually help almost like undergrads and graduates to get prepared for the corporate world. It's a very good one because a lot of companies use them, and a lot of, even within the companies that I've worked for, some of their early careers and junior talent have come through Investment 2020. And lastly, work experience programs. LinkedIn is full of them. Just look on LinkedIn, look at contacts that you know within your network, and just ask around as well. Look on social media, on Instagram, and so on and so forth. The next slide, I can't remember what is. And that's it. I think I'm to time. So that's my LinkedIn. Please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm on X and Instagram as well. And hope I can take some questions from you if you have any. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Bola. That was awesome and informative. If anybody has any questions for Bola, please put in the chat. We'll give a minute or so for that, and then we'll move on to the quiz. So if you have any questions for Bola, please. Michelle did write in the chat that she fully supports Bola's message on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is the first place that she would look for when looking for new joiners. So if you just want to look in the chat as well and read that. Any questions?
Or maybe we launch the quiz just to save time while we're waiting for questions. Please, if you have questions, put it in the chat and then we can pick you up and ask Bola. But in the meantime, we're going to launch and take this quizzes seriously because there are prizes to be won. And but the one after this one is a big one where you actually get to win mentorship, and we're going to screen people and see how, they qualify for mentorship. Michelle is happy to mentor 2 people for the next 6 months. Bola is happy to mentor 2 people for the next 6 months. And there are other prizes, honestly, that you can leverage from, especially if you're going through feminine health issues, the e-books that we have to give away and all of that. So let's enjoy the quizzes and participate.
So you should be able to see them on your screen now.
Sorry to interrupt again. Whilst the quiz is going, and I just wanted to say, we've posted the result of the first quiz in the chat, so we can see the first 5 people according to the timing. Please, I know that especially if you didn't register for this email, we're going to pick that out, the names, so that we can contact the winners and send them their prizes. But if you didn't register, especially for this event, we might not have your email. So please put your emails in the chat box so we can harvest them and then be able to contact you for your prize. Thank you.
Yes, so the first quiz, well done to Tina, to Dr. Moji, to Michaela, I hope that's how I pronounce your name, to Alison, to Dawn Hills, and to Danielle Porter. Those were the first five people, so well done. Do we have all the polls in for the second quiz? Are we able to share? Or are people still voting? Are the votes still coming in?
Florence, can you please help answer? Are we still waiting for votes, or if everyone's done, please?
Yes, the votes are still coming in.
All right, thank you.
While the votes are still coming in, if we could get ready the video that we was meant to play earlier on, I believe that should be ready as well. Or should we play that video while the votes are coming in? Actually, they wouldn't be able to.
No, because we need to share that result first. We give you 30 more seconds, please, and then we can close the poll.
Okay, can we have the results of the poll, please?
Any
Yes,
joy?
reviewing the answers. I'm not going to share my results. But yes, you should be reviewing your answers. So I'll run through the questions quickly. So which food are best to fight inflammation? But one. And the correct answer was dairy products. Number two, all our lifestyle practices to include in your routine for wellness, except one. And the right answer is stress triggers. Third question, which is not a common herb, food, or supplement to reduce pain and inflammation? The right answer is apples. And number four, do not include the following in your diet for wellness. The answer is energy drinks and soda. And number five, foods to help restore hormone balance are, and the right answer is soy and soya products. So we'll collate the results. Let's play the video and then we'll put the results in the chat to see who are our next 5 winners. So this is a short video of the impacts that we've made in the community over the past 3 years. For those who missed it earlier, we wasn't able to play it, so now we will be playing it. If the video is ready, please.
The video is coming up, please.
Thank you.
Just a moment.
Apologies. Thank you, everyone. I know you've been patient with us, but we left the best bit for the last.
So next, I'm going to pass us back to our founder, Toyin Taiwo, to share the FHF 2024 projects, donations, and partnership.
All right, thank you, everyone. I'm just going to try and talk us through some of the things that we have left. We couldn't share some of the impacts that we've made in the last 3 years, but can you please mute, Morgan? Well, in the last 3 years, honestly, we've had great testimonials of, we have a hub of about, I think, 112 or 15 women. And in that hub, we just share hand-holding, share information, help one another, bring education, you know, and also online continuous education that we have, you know, regarding feminine health issues. And every little help, honestly, I say. And for that, I am absolutely grateful. For the month of May, you know, we have projects that we're working on that, well, this is one of it that we'll be doing in April. Sorry, we've just done this one. But in May, we're looking at more Instagram live conversation where we talk about, you know, these feminine health issues, encourage openness and conversation, you know, so that we can just help women to address some of the issues. And then we're looking at school advocacy and school projects. We have one that will be happening in Nigeria, Abuja. You know, we visit schools to inform and educate school children. We also have one most likely happening in, well, the schools in Thurrock definitely happening, but the school, we have 2 schools in mind in Thurrock to do that in June. We're going to also continue that advocacy on bringing Instagram live and bringing professionals. So what we tend to do is just bring professionals who can help, you know, answer women's questions and just encourage that conversation to help women to wellness. And in July, we'll be having, we're planning for a fundraising for a free fiber surgery, you know, in Africa. So those are the things that we're working on. And also August is our rest month. We continue to plan, you know, and fundraise for the free fiber surgery that we're taking a team to do in Africa. And September, we have a charity walk, and on the 28th of September, it's in Brentwood Park. Come join us, you know, and be a part of it. It helps to create awareness, you know, around feminine health issues and educating and informing women and making it the norm for women to be able to speak up about these things, that it's okay to talk about it and to get the help and support that they need to thrive. You know, in October as well, more of that Instagram live conversation. In November, we actually when we hope to implement that prefab project in Africa. And of course, in December, we always do feeding people. We do a bit here in England, you know, go and to the food and supply food to the food banks and all of that. And in Africa as well, we go to communities and just do the bits that we can do. Sorry about that, I was going to stop sharing. The bit that we can do. So we have partners, honestly, who make this possible, but also we welcome donation, we welcome partnership if there's any way. And we're looking, you know, for volunteers as well. If there's anything that you can do to help us, some of the things we haven't been able to share the previous slide we wanted to share at the beginning, but some of the things we're doing, look us up on our social media media handles. If we can post that, please, Florence, you know, see the things that we're doing. If you like it, if you want to encourage us, if you want to be part of us, please, you're welcome. You know, support us, donate, whatever it is that you can do to help move this forward, and also to help us impact women and girls as a whole. So thank you very much. We'll go on to the next thing. That's a link to donate. I'm sure someone will be putting that in the chat. If you like to donate, be part of us, help us. Even if you want to volunteer, you want to give your time, please reach out to us. We'll be happy, you know, for every help and every support that we can get. Thank you very much. Let's do the very important one for the mentorship program now, which is we're going to have this link that's going to be shared. And then once that you fill that out, you can fill that out in the background. But that is the one that actually wins the mentorship for Michelle and for Bola. They're happy to support 2 women, you know, depending on where you are on your journey, in your career, and where you want to go to. So that link that someone will be sharing in the chat today, we're not going to announce the winner for that, but the second quiz we're going to announce winners for, and then we can tell you what the prices will be. But for the mentorship, we will have to come back to you on that, because the screening is a bit different, because it also depends on where the person's at their stage and what the mentors can accommodate. You know, but also it's also a speed thing. The earlier you put it in, I think you have about 48 hours to hand that form in. It's a Google form. If you fill it out and then share, just submit it, and then we can capture it and then run through it and see who qualifies for the mentorship, or who they can accommodate, you know, based on how you filled out that form. So thank you very much for that. What's the next agenda? Thank you so much for bearing with us with the time. You've been amazing. Oh my God. Thank you. We're really sorry that we took so much time. Now, if we just, we would like some feedback, actually. That's it. We'd like some feedback from you, what we can do better, what we can do differently. Also, now that's going to be a poll. Sorry, we're just bombarding with all of this poll. We wanted to spread it across, but because things didn't go well in the beginning, so we just thought, you know, everybody just speak, and then we do this towards the end. But we will launch the poll for the feedback, because we found out in the past that when we put a Google link, people don't come back. So we will crave indulgence. Please kindly complete this poll for us so we can get some feedback and do things better and differently next time. It's really important, because we want to serve better. We want to be excellent in doing this, to be able to make the impact that we desire to make. So please help, if we please launch that.
Yeah, it should be on people's screens now.
Okay, so yeah. Please, I know it's a bit, but a few minutes, and then we can round this off. We can close this and announce second quiz. We're waiting for the results of that. We're going to post that as soon as that's ready. We post it in there, and then we can announce the winners for that second poll. And then I think we'll be on our way to finishing this. And thank you for your
Yes.
patience. Thank you.
The winner for the second poll will be put in the chat, but I can just read it out to you now. The first 5 winners, so you know. And if you, as Tony said, if you haven't registered, please put your email in the chat so that we can make contacts with you so you can win your prize. So well done to the following: Regina, Bola, Tokes, Tinu, and number 5 is T Nujoroge. Your first name is T. So well done to those people. As I said, if you haven't registered, please put your email address in the chat. And thank you so much for being patient with us. We really do hope that you have learned a lot today and you've taken away so much from this event. It's been amazing. It's been informative. I was there with my pen and paper on the side, writing, making notes for myself. And I hope that you have taken something away. Please don't forget to do the forms so that you are able to have the opportunity for the mentoring. And we will round up now. If Dr. Moji could please round up with closing prayer, and you can enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Thank you again so much. And a big well done to the team. A big well done to Toyi for bringing this amazing program and giving people the opportunity to be able to gain these knowledges in the comfort of their home, really, at the end of the day. So thank you. So if
an honor to serve. And Dr. Moji is coming on. She's one of the trustees. She's just going to give the closing remark, and then she can close us off from this webinar.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon. Yes, we can.
So thank you so much for coming today, for spending your Saturday morning and afternoon. We know it's really precious time. And we hope you've been able to take away something from today's session. Thank you to the speakers. Thank you to the attendees. And we hope that we'll see you soon at our next sessions. Thank you, Toyin, for putting this together. Well done. And I pray that the good Lord will continue to give you more strength and give each of us strength in our daily work, in our homes, in our health journeys, in Jesus' name. And I pray that you enjoy the rest of your weekend and Saturday afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Moji, and thank you to every of our speakers and everyone who shared their journey and their stories today. We are absolutely grateful. We do not take it for granted. You know, it's an honor, honestly, for me to serve. I always look at it as a service, you know, and it's an honor for me to be able to serve. And I'm grateful that, I mean, I could say, oh, come and speak here, and you didn't turn up or you didn't want to be part of it. So I'm absolutely delighted that you came, and then I'm grateful that you're part of what we're doing. And also to everyone who's attended today, thank you so much. I do hope you've learned something. I do hope you've taken away something today useful for you and for women around you, for girls around you, something that will get you started even on your journey regarding your wellness and regarding, you know, your career and being rightly positioned in the workplace. Thank you, everyone. Absolutely grateful. And to the staff who, you know, work behind this, I know we've had a lot of technical issues today, but please forgive us, love us and forgive us. Honestly, they've worked very hard, you know, behind the scenes, even before today, but things still happen, but we're grateful. But just hope that everyone who's been here today found value for it and has been able to take stuff away. Thank you very much. We hope to see you again in one of our sessions. And have a lovely, lovely afternoon, and God bless. Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Well done, sister. Well done, sister.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining. God bless. God bless. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining. Thank you.
Well done, Sister Toyin.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining.
All right, we're signing off now. It's Pastor Tutu saying hi.
Oh, thank you, Pastor Tutu. I thought you were not going to stay up to the end. Thank you for staying. Thank you. Thank you. I thought you had the.
So I decided to.
Oh, bless. Thank you.
There's just so much to juggle.
I can imagine.
There's so much to juggle. Oh my God.
I can imagine.